It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Gina Trapani's last show of 2013. She's moving to Brooklyn, and somehow, I don't know, maybe she's going in a Conestoga wagon or something. We won't be able to talk to her until January. But her last show, Jeff Jarvis, we're going to get into it on the NSA, on spying, and whether it's okay to blackmail foreign agents over their porn habits. It's coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 226, recorded November 27th, 2013, The Hobbit Menu. This Week in Google is brought to you by Shutterstock.com. With over 28 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative project to the next level. For 25% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use the offer code TWIG1113. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show that covers Google, the cloud, the Twitterverse, everything having to do with, whatever we want to talk about, basically, because we've got a great panel on this show. Jeff Jarvis is here from the City University of New York. He's pink again because we made him use Skype. You know, how come Jeff has a Skype logo in his upper right-hand corner? Is that on the wall of your office now?
No, I don't know. It's an old version of Skype.
This is something new with Skype because Gina doesn't have it. Huh.
If we used Hangouts, we wouldn't have that problem.
Well, I see it on my side.
Yeah.
But you guys don't see it.
No. That's Gina Trapani from smarterware.org, thinkup.com.
Newly
All about Android.
cat-ified.
Oh, and with the best lock screen ever.
Yeah, that's my girl. Slide for Google
Kit
now.
Kat. So you're going to leave it on the Google launcher?
Yeah, I just installed the Google launcher, which, spoilers, that'll have something to do with my tip, because that doesn't come to non-Nexus 5 phones. And yeah, I like the Google Experience launcher a lot better. It's a lot cleaner, really nice.
Were you using the default launcher before, or did you use a third-party launcher?
Well, yeah, I always use the default launcher.
Oh, okay.
And then I got KitKat literally like 45 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I looked at the KitKat launcher, and it looks just a lot like the default Android launcher. But then I grabbed the Google Experience launcher just because I'm interested. Like, I'm very interested to see how Google is differentiating like the Google experience from the kind of vanilla Android, the open source Android app or whatever. And it's interesting. Like, it looks a lot nicer. It looks more designed and slicker. And I see Google kind of pulling away and being like, this is the Google experience. And we're probably going to see this launcher in the Play Store at some point. So, but I do actually prefer it because it is simpler. And I do dig, the tap and hold to drag across home screens and that kind of thing. I think I'll keep it for now.
Came to my Moto X. I have the AT&T Moto X last week. My Nexus 7 got it yesterday.
Yep, mine too.
So it's spreading. KitKat is spreading. And
when are you going to get your wood phone?
I don't know. The rumor is that in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to go to Moto Maker and get a wood phone. You can now do Moto Maker with Verizon and is it Sprint? I know they've expanded it beyond AT&T, but nobody's offering the wood. They said $50 more for wood. I would pay anything for wood. I would. And
after my surgery, so would I.
I just think having a wooden phone is kind of like old meets new. I don't know. There's something I like it. All carriers have Moto Maker now, apparently. So
I just I had a bad Wednesday last week. I broke a tooth, and then somebody apparently nicked my Nexus 7.
Oh no!
Oh,
I think it was Verizon.
I think Verizon said we're going to shut this guy up. It's got
a new one.
Oh, good. And is it Verizon or AT&T or what? I mean,
it's not neither. And I'll well, it's just
Oh, that's right. You have to activate it with it, but Verizon's still not doing it, right?
Nope.
So
but
when
now
it got taken, did you use Find My Device or did you change your Google account password
for idiot?
Oh, you forgot.
Yeah. Because I
have my
always
phone.
think about,
but I forgot to go back to the Nexus 7 and do it.
Right. So were you nervous about someone picking it up and being into your account?
I changed every password imaginable immediately. I drove home I got in my car to drive home that day after the train and just sat there for half an hour changing passwords.
Oh, to everything. Oh.
That's frustrating.
You know what? It's fine. It's a good thing I did that because I've been behind doing that. So all right.
Now you've learned.
Right. You did your penance.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn
Your
on
password
my
penance.
new Nexus 7 right now.
Ironically, the carriers shot down the plan to put kill switches on handsets.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, this is a nice thing. San Francisco Attorney General George Gascon tweeted Tuesday saying that major carriers shot down plans for a remote kill switch for smartphones that was developed by Gascon along with Samsung. Or no, I'm sorry, it was developed by Samsung. Gascon and New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman have been trying to get manufacturers to add that to all smartphones so that service could be shut off when a phone is stolen.
And the conspiracy theory about why they did this, which is cynical and nasty, but hey, it's phone companies, is they would lose a fortune in insurance.
That doesn't make sense.
That's what one's theory said. I have no idea. It's speculative anyway.
They lose a fortune.
Because
Walk me through that.
Because phone carriers sell insurance for lost and broken phones.
Okay.
And
if
if
people buy that, I guess, huh? Okay. Gotcha.
I don't know how that. If you lose your phone, you still lose your phone. Bricking it doesn't make any impact on that.
That's the thing. You're gonna buy a new phone. I really don't buy the conspiracy theory. However,
I don't either, 'cause I don't get it.
The phone companies have left themselves wide open to it by not explaining themselves. But I think their attitude is, what? That didn't happen. They're not admitting to it.
What is the rationale for not approving this? I don't understand. I know what it is. No, here was the fuller argument. Fuller argument was that if there was no value in stealing phones, then because phones are stolen all the time now,
right?
iPhones are like candy to thieves, and so if suddenly now it's not worth it to steal phones anymore, then it's not worth it to buy phones for the case that you get it stolen. Buy insurance for the case you get it stolen.
I don't buy that.
And you don't buy a new phone to replace the phone that got stolen.
I don't buy it.
I don't either.
That makes no sense. I think there's other reasons, and it may merely be that they don't want the burden of having to kill phones. And if they fail it, there may be liability involved. And I think they don't want that in their hands. They don't want to have to validate that the kill request came from the actual customer. I bet you anything. First of all, they're not admitting that this happened, and the only reason we think it happened is because this guy tweeted it. And so we don't even know that it happened. But let's assume it did. The phone company's not admitting to it. No word from AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile. But I would bet their lawyers said, oh, no, you don't want that liability. Hey, look what I got in the mail. Oh, can you read that? It says, meet your Google Wallet card.
What, did you sign in right away?
I did it on the show last week.
That's right. You did. You got your
I heard it on the change log, and it said 6 to 10 weeks, blah, 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 blah. So, no, here it is. And it's an interesting card. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want... Well, I will show you the front because the number's on the back. It says, activate your card with the Google Wallet app or wallet.google.com. And it has this really cool logo. But it's a credit card number, right? Here, you can show it now. It's a MasterCard debit card.
Right.
And it debits right out of my
your
my
Google
wallet,
wallet balance. Yeah.
So how do you put money into the wallet balance?
I don't think you have to. I don't know. Because the wallet's tied to a credit card. Oh, do I have to transfer money over?
It deducts from your, from what I understand, it deducts from your balance, and you add to your balance from whatever other cards or bank accounts you have linked to your wallet account.
That's why it's a, it says wallet card mailed November 26th, estimated delivery December 1st. No, I got it. I got it now. And to the last 4 digits.
Then if you have credit cards, I don't understand that.
It's just one more cool thing to have.
I mean, I want a Google card, sure.
Spend your wallet balance. Make purchases and get cash from ATMs, all funded by your wallet balance.
Yeah, by your wallet balance. Right, it doesn't make sense, right? Like at least, so like with PayPal, I've got my bank account linked to it. When I buy something through PayPal, PayPal then automatically debits that from my bank account. And I would kind of want Google Wallet to behave the same way. I don't want to have to manually sort of fill my balance before I use it.
So this is what they're saying. Your balance is zero, but I can add money to my balance, $20, and normally there'd be a fee. This is how they make some money.
I see. So I'm reading a story now on USA Today. I didn't put it on the rundown yet. I guess I could. It says that this is why they had people aren't using Wallet because there's all kinds of yes buts.
Right.
That you have to have a Google Android phone. It has to come with NFC, blah, blah, blah. If you have an iPhone app, you can't use it to tap, blah, blah, blah. Moreover, you have to be a customer of Sprint or two of the smaller competitors. To get past all of the above hurdles, you can have Google Wallet.
It gives you micropayment capabilities in effect.
Oh.
Right? And then because you're buying a chunk of stuff from Google, they waive the fees. Okay, I'm going to add $100 to my card. Now I have $100 on this card. Plus, you don't have to worry about losing it or the number, right? I think it feels more secure.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's something I would give my kid,
Yeah.
Like I've got, here's a couple $100 on this card, use it until.
So now it says your money will be available in less than an hour. So it's not an instant.
Yeah. That's another but. It's funny. Like, I love Google and I trust Google, and they have my tax information because they pay me through the Play Store for my app sales, and they have my bank account information. They have everything. But if it comes to transferring money, like I'm still going to reach for Square or maybe even PayPal when I actually have to before I even think of Wallet. And I think it's just I don't know if it's just a branding thing or what, but I mean, you can attach money to Gmail now. You've got the card. You don't need NFC on your device to use the Wallet app anymore. I don't know. I don't know what the psychological block is for me anyway. I just don't use it. Now, Ron on All About Android, my co-host on All About Android, he loves it. He absolutely loves it and goes into the gas station place and taps and pays for his Snapple before AA every week.
I love that. Yeah.
And I just haven't. I think it just takes a lot to change habits.
Well, Laura, let me understand. No, never mind.
It's just another credit card, really. Or another debit card.
It's a debit card, yeah.
Although it is a MasterCard, so. I guess, you know what the real reason is? Now Google has one more way to monitor what I'm buying.
Yeah.
The more I use this, what they'd love is for me to make every transaction through Google Wallet in some form or fashion.
And then they're going to have to give me, I guess I can still earn my points because it's still going to go to my credit card. My credit card gives me the points.
Yeah, so I just got 100 points from American Express, funding card.
All right, stay there, Leo. You're right. So now my MasterCard, my personal MasterCard, isn't going to know what I buy. Everything I buy in the world is from Google.
Oh, I like that. So it's a transfer of knowledge from your MasterCard to your Google. That's interesting. I don't know what that all means.
I wasn't thinking about it in terms of data. I was thinking of it in terms of Google just wants me to buy stuff from the Play Store.
When it comes to Google, you always have to think of it in terms of data, Gina.
You're right. Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So now if I use Tap to Pay, Google knows. If I use my Google card, Google knows. If online I use my wallet, Google knows. And all that information is useful to them. It happened yesterday. We were talking on one of the shows on MacBreak Weekly about hearing aids, and I did a search for hearing aids, and within seconds, then the next site I went to had a big Google ad for hearing aids.
Sure. That's the whole essence of whatever they call it now this week.
Does that bother people, tracking? I mean, to me, that's like, okay, that makes sense. Let me say it this way, because I know it bothers people, but let me say it this way. If that's all it was, if you knew for sure that it didn't go any farther than that all it did was put an ad up because you looked for something, would that be okay with you? Or is it the presumption that there's something more going on?
Well, what bothers me about it is I look for a motel room in Oshkosh, and 8 weeks later, it's still telling me about damn motel rooms in Oshkosh. I bought it by now.
Right. Well, that is because
ads.
That's because it's an imperfect science. Just as recommendations on Amazon are imperfect. They always recommend stuff I already bought. If I buy a hearing aid with my Google Wallet card, will that stop the ads?
Might be.
Ooh, wouldn't that be cool?
So you use the Google Wallet card to stop advertising? As soon as I purchase it, you can stop showing me ads for this.
See, if Google's really smart, that's
what
they
they
get
would do.
all the signals, and they start to put together a picture of not only did he look for it, but he bought it. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll stop showing the ads.
I don't know, but I think Amazon, I mean, there have been times when I've searched for something on Amazon, then I've bought it. And the question is, do I still get the ads for that?
I think you do. I don't think it's smart enough. Somebody in the chat room said, you know what should really happen is now they should give you hearing aid battery ads.
Yeah.
Because they know you bought it. I mean, all of this is because they aren't good enough yet.
You know, it's funny. It's not the ads that bother me. Ads don't bother me. I feel like a lot of times they actually do create a better experience. You know, if I get information I didn't have before. The thing that bothers me is the tracking, the retention, the sort of long-term memory, and the types of things that Google knows about me in aggregate that I don't know, and the fact that I don't have a view into that data, and then I don't have a way even to like. To change it or to see, I want to see me the way that Google sees me. You know, that's part of the reason why I'm building ThinkUp. But like, even like at one point I went back to Amazon. Yeah, I've been shopping at Amazon for 15 years or whatever, and was looking at purchases that I made, 15 years ago, which I don't even remember. And it was just, because I have a short memory. I'm a human, right? But computers don't. They have a long memory and can store tons of data, a lot more data than I can. And it was a moment where I was like, oh, and at least on Amazon, I can say this was a gift. I already own this. I bought this for somebody else. I can say like, this is me, this isn't me, or whatever. But there's not really any way to do that with Google. And so it's the retention and it's the aggregate sort of insights that Google has. And that all happens in the dark. And I know that that's happening in the dark, right? But like, I can't do anything about it, and I don't really get a view into it. Doesn't.
But it wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard to add that to your Google dashboard. And Google would gain value from you if you told Google, never mind that. The same way you can with Amazon. Amazon to me is the gold standard here. And Amazon did it in latent self-interest because every time, my standard joke in conferences, I say that when I buy my daughter a Taylor Swift album, the next morning I feel like a dirty old man on Amazon. And, right? And Amazon gives me the chance to fix it.
I feel like a gangsta on Amazon because all the songs my son buys. Yeah. So Vince Cerf, who is Google's chief internet evangelist, speaking to the Federal Trade Commission, was asked about privacy. This is, I love Vint, by the way, super smart guy.
This is an Eric Schmidt moment.
It's the problem is engineers tell the truth.
Tell the truth, exactly.
And sometimes they don't finesse it, and he probably could have finessed this better. He says, I grew up in a small town of 3,000 people where there was no privacy. Everybody knows what everybody's doing. Privacy may actually be an anomaly. Technology created the notion of privacy. It's the Industrial Revolution and the growth of urban concentrations that led to a sense of anonymity.
That's right.
He says, I don't want you to go away thinking I'm shallow about it, but overall, it will be increasingly difficult for us to achieve privacy. Our social behavior is also quite damaging with regard to privacy.
This is going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
He could have said, let's put privacy in perspective. Privacy is a relatively recent invention of society. We also have benefits from sharing and
should have dodged. You should have dodged it. You're, by the way, the king of public parts. So you've had a lot of time to think about how to address this. He says the right thing towards the end. The technology we use today has far outraced our social intuition, our headlights. We need to develop social conventions that are more respectful of people's privacy. That's what he should have said.
Yes.
Just have left it at that. But he's an engineer, and he said he's a professor, and he wanted to say, well, let me explain. Historically,
the other problem, of course, is the privacy now is not just about companies; it's about government. I chaired, as they put it in the UK, or emceed a Guardian all-day event on Wednesday last week. That's why I wasn't here. And so I ran a panel with the amazing Yochai Benkler and Rebecca McKinnon and former Senator Bob Kerrey. And he started off on the rant of, well, I distrust companies a lot more than I distrust government. And I just said, whoa, whoa, no, I have a transaction with Google and I can leave Google, and I didn't know this stuff was going on with the NSA. Wrong.
I think that also I would point out that the kind of invasion of privacy in a 3,000-person town is not what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they kind of know what you're up to, but it's not like they have a camera in your bathroom.
Right.
Right. I mean, one argument that I used in public parts was, I guess, an author named Mark Giraud, I think it was, said that privacy was really an invention of the technology known as the hallway. That before the hallway, you would go through room to room through people's businesses, no matter what they were doing, shut up and whatever it was they were doing.
That's interesting. You had to.
People do that.
When was the hallway invented?
There was a year, I forget what it was. There was a time period when it was put, but it said that yes, the one hallways, and then in the case of British aristocracy, the back stairs. When the servants
Google.
had different stairs.
When was the hallway invented?
I knew that this would be a good theme for the show.
The 18th century. How about that? According to Homeowners Hub, which is known for its scholarly expertise. And go back to the search results. That was the first result. And now the internet's dead, so I can't go back. Okay. Here's Wiki Answers, Know Your Meme, The Inventor's Secret, Who Invented the Hallway, ChaCha.com. I don't know if there really is. We're going to find the definitive answer here.
Think so.
God, it's so interesting. When we were looking for houses in Brooklyn, in old, old Brooklyn houses, the one that we bought is like 1910. But there's this railroad style where it's just rooms stacked on one another, and so many of you have to walk through the rooms.
That's
to get
very
to the other
common.
ones.
Yeah,
and there were middle rooms that didn't have windows, and it was just But then you have the one with a really small hallway around most of the rooms. But that's so interesting.
Somebody's saying the Romans had hallways. I don't know. I'm thinking back to Ephesus. I don't think there were any hallways.
The revolutionary invention of backstairs.
Backstairs was huge.
Backstairs in the late 17th century separated servants from employers, according to historian Mark Giraud, reading a certain book that I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
The use of interior halls in the 18th century enabled rooms to be closed to traffic. The closet, created as a place to lock up one's stuff, later became a retreat for what we would call privacy. In the 19th century, Richard Sennett says, Londoners joined clubs not to socialize, as we do today, but to sit in silence away from the hustle of the city. At the same time, Daniel J. Solov points out, notice how well I attribute all of my stuff.
Very well done.
Work shifted from farms to factories and offices, turning the home at last into a family's retreat. Thus, England, says Philippe Erez, became, quote, the birthplace of privacy.
Wow. This book, everybody should read Public Parts. My God. Vince, would you send a copy to Vince Cerf?
I actually was thinking about that. I need to, yes.
I think you just say, Vince, you're right.
Here's my other favorite part is this. In 1516, Sir Thomas More argued, I feel like I'm Steve now on reading some long memo on the Senate Security Show, argued in his novel Utopia that idyllic society is a transparent society. With the eyes of everyone upon them, people have no choice but to do their customary work or to enjoy their pastimes, which are not dishonorable. In More's time, everyone worked under the gaze of everyone else. Public business was conducted out of private homes.
Yeah.
The cobbler made his shoes there. The alehouse was a house. Privacy in the modern sense was not expected even among the rich, who were surrounded by servants and homes whose layouts required residents to walk through rooms to get to other rooms. And then I think that's
fascinating.
It is.
We have learned here. We have learned something.
Vint came from a strange town where they had no halls.
I think this is really so private, and that, that's something we often have to point out, is that privacy is not enshrined in the Constitution. It's not even mentioned in the United States Constitution. But that makes sense. They didn't have hallways. They didn't even know. Doesn't the word privy come from the root privacy?
Yes, and the other thing that fascinates me is that the reason in England that public schools are actually, in American jargon, private schools, is because public schools in England, that is to say rich entry schools, were for public people, the children of public people, people of privilege. Interesting.
Somebody said the Fourth Amendment implies privacy.
That's the argument that was made, but it had to be written in from 1890s when Brandeis and Warren wrote their famous essay about privacy. They were seeking to find privacy in law, and they had to find a rationale of it around.
Isn't that amazing?
But as you say, there was no specific mention of privacy. Boy, get me started and see what happens.
And yet, if you're a child pornographer, Google could go through your Picasa images.
Well, and not only that, if you're a child pornographer and somebody who has an Arab name, the NSA is going to go through them.
Yeah.
We got 2 pornography stories today.
Yeah. A child pornography bust reported by CBS Sacramento is raising questions about Google's access to consumer data, according to The Verge.
This struck me as a red herring because all that Google did was the government put watermarks into child porn stuff, and Google reported back where they found that stuff. I don't see any problem with that.
Google says it does not search images indiscriminately, performs automated searches looking for specific image fingerprints that have been flagged by law enforcement, and then forwards suspicious activity to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which then passes it to law enforcement.
I don't have the slightest problem with that.
No, I think that's okay.
Knowing that we can say, like, hey, Google, show me pictures of cats, show me my pictures of cats and show me my friends' pictures of birds. And, like, I mean, we know that Google has very
they know that.
strong searching capabilities. If they're searching for particular watermarks, I don't have a problem with that.
No.
And knowing what the technology can do, I'm not surprised by that at all. I don't know why privacy advocates would be surprised by that.
Because it's a knee-jerk response now. Any story angle now on this. Verge is generally, I think, superb, but in this case, I think they went off the mark.
Well, what people get nervous, they go, oh, well, if they could do that for pornography, they could do it. If I start looking at a lot of cat pictures, suddenly they can do that.
Of course, technologically, they can do anything.
But
but you don't eliminate that.
Why we live in a world of law where some things are illegal. And as soon as they make searching for cat pictures illegal, that's when I move to France.
Oh, please make it illegal. Please. That would
Lane.
Fix the entire internet.
Sarah Lane, just the thought of it, she's already there. So what was the other pornography story? I didn't see that.
Somewhere under NSA. The NSA, according to, if you go to Huffington Post today, the lead story, Glenn Greenwald writing for Everybody on Earth, now Huffington Post.
Oh, he's writing for the Huffington Post now?
Today, what the heck? Waiting for his
today, Huffington Post, tomorrow, eBay.
So the NSA has been going after the porn habits of, it's even strong to say suspected terrorists, but there were people who had no necessarily suspicion, but they had a plan to use that to embarrass them because
that's not okay.
And one of them was an American citizen.
That's not okay.
Did you find the story on Huffington?
Yeah. Top secret document reveals NSA spied on porn habits as part of plan to discredit radicalizers.
Radicalizers, yes.
But that's... Well,
they had to search hard for that picture. What picture can we put up that would say porn but not say porn?
What is the key word for this? Let's see. The document provided by 6 targets, all Muslims, as exemplars of how personal vulnerabilities can. But this is isn't this what we expect? This is called spy work. They're foreign nationals. We suspect them of being bad guys. Don't we use whatever tools we can to undermine them, to figure out where their weaknesses are? If they're homosexuals and they live in a country where homosexuality is illegal, would we not use that to try to turn them? I mean, I read a lot of spy novels, you can tell. That seems like that seems like what we do.
If they're not accused of or suspected of an actual crime.
Well, but that's if they're in the United States. But this is presumably not in the U.S.
Well, but that's another point. Is we've got to get past this idea that unless you're an American citizen, you have no rights whatsoever under the trawl of the American government. That can't live.
But isn't this how you pursue intelligence against foreign governments that are enemies? I mean, there's a long-standing tradition of this?
Well, it doesn't mean it's right. Every time you said okay just now, I thought you were going to say Google.
Okay, Google. What's wrong with spying?
Okay, Google, is it okay to do this?
It matters if they're foreign national. I agree. Look, if I'm a foreign national, I'm going to be pissed off. But but I mean, maybe I read too many spy novels, but that's what kind of the basis of all this stuff is. You subvert the foreign nationals that you think are threats.
Right. So it's an economic problem very soon. That means that the laws that are attempted in the EU and Brazil to say you may not store any data or pass any data from our citizens through the U.S. because the damned NSA is going to come across it. And that's going to have a big impact on our cloud business here on the Cloud Show.
Well, okay, but if you don't try to take down terrorists and other bad guys, that could have an even more bigger problem than our cloud business.
If you think the guy is a terrorist.
Well, that's what they're doing. I mean, yeah. So now the only thing at all that comes up as illegal in this is that one of the people was identified as a U.S. person. And people who are either citizens or residents of the United States do have better protection, supposedly, against NSA surveillance.
You don't think that foreign people should have, international people should have due process?
No.
None.
What do you mean? By who? The special court that protects foreign people? Well, whom? By whom?
Well, then
we don't have to do a wiretap of a Saudi national they suspect of financing terrorism. There is no court you go to say, can we do a wiretap? That's cloak and dagger work. It's surveillance. We've never had any oversight. I mean, there's the House Committee on Intelligence that does oversight, but there's never been any court that says, well, or any law that says you need a warrant to do that. That's what we do, right? I mean, I understand. Look, if I were a foreign national, I'd be pissed. If I'm Angela Merkel.
Yeah. What are you looking at me for?
I'm just wondering. There's no. Is that reprehensible?
Gina has no opinion. Gina, what do you think?
I think we're all just global citizens. I don't know.
You're a bunch of liberal lefties.
I know we are. Look, I have trouble with the distinction between citizens and foreigners. Everybody's foreign somewhere. I don't know. Look, I'm not arguing with the way that it's done. I don't know enough about the way that it's done to really comment intelligently.
You don't read spy novels.
I don't read spy novels. No,
okay.
No.
Watch Homeland. You ever watch Homeland?
I do love Homeland. I'm not watching the current season, but I did love Homeland last season.
Okay. So,
yeah.
I mean,
wait a minute. Why aren't you watching the current season?
For stupid reasons I won't go into. I don't have Showtime and I haven't had time to.
I see. Okay,
I'm getting a little sick of Carrie's cry face myself.
Yeah, and I heard the season wasn't so good, and
it's good. So. No, it's great. Weird. Are you kidding? There's a massive twist that will blow your.
Oh, okay. I heard that it wasn't as good as season one, and I loved season one.
I love season one, but I think this is good. Whoever told you that hadn't got to that far in this. The first 5 episodes, something happens in 6 that nullifies what you've seen.
Well, don't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I'm just saying that this is a long-standing tradition. All nations, if they identify somebody as hostile to the nation, will pursue any means necessary, including murdering somebody in Mexico City with a hammer. If they're foreign nationals.
But I guess here's the point. Would you agree, Leo, that it's wrong for the government to do corporate espionage?
Yes, it needs to be in the defense of the United States.
Okay, so there has to be some establishment of some,
and there is, but it's not
suspicion.
It's not what we think of as U.S. citizens. We don't have the right to a fair trial and a jury of your peers. There's oversight by the House Foreign Intelligence Committee and various committees.
But when I interviewed Kerry on the Guardian panel, videos up somewhere online, he said that congressional oversight isn't that good because there hasn't been a single subpoena from either of the select committees.
Maybe we need to make it better. However, this has always gone on. This has gone on since 1777. And all nations do it. They pursue their national interest. Maybe and then we make conventions like the Geneva Accords, so that because there's this issue of blowback, so we all have kind of some restraint because you don't want this to become untrammeled. Then you really have a problem because we need to have international commerce. But I think that there's a long-standing tradition of doing this. Maybe this should change, but I think that's a very big conversation that nobody's proposing.
Yeah, that's a big conversation. But the internet changes things a little bit. Like if people in nations other than the U.S. are using U.S. services and what that means. Like I get that global commerce has been around for a long time, right? But the internet hasn't been around for that long a time. So I guess
things are changing.
Things are changing.
And very much more, this conversation would never have happened 50 years ago. Very much more than ever, we see ourselves as citizens of the world, not as of the U.S. Right. You would have never had this conversation 50 years ago. We're America. We have the right to defend ourselves. What are you talking about?
Right.
Those Ruskies would blow us up in a heartbeat. You do anything you need to subvert them, including check up on their porno. Man, if you could get... How many novels, how many movies, how many plays, how many books have been written about the idea of figuring out somebody's gay and then blackmailing them?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a long-standing tradition. Now, I agree. Maybe this isn't how we want to proceed, but that conversation we're still far from having. I go to Washington and say, hey, maybe we should be nicer to those bad guys and see how that goes. Maybe we shouldn't spy on the terrorist porno.
We won't get into this, but I also have a really hard time with the whole good guy, bad guy dichotomy. That's never really
I agree, but you're a hippie.
And we're not always the good guys.
No, God, no. And that's, but this is...
No one is.
We are now, but that's, of course, and I agree with you. I'm by the way, I'm arguing a little more strongly than I might feel, but I think this is it's unrealistic to think, we're going to be nice to people. Let's extend the same rights and privileges U.S. citizens have to foreign nationals. I don't think that's going to happen. However, we didn't have Google 50 years ago. And Google's a U.S. company.
So if we found out that France was spying on all of us,
we'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Just as they are pissed at us.
If we all used, what's the Chinese social, Sina Weibo is the Chinese Twitter. I mean, if we all use that, and China used it to surveil us.
And here's the funny thing, Gina. I some Chinese people, journalists, tried to get me to set up a Weibo account, and I said, kind of out of protest, no, not as long as the government is doing what it is in China. I'm not going to use it.
Right.
And of course,
and then the NSA happened, and you salted your hat.
Yeah.
It's actually a really fascinating question because I don't know. It may not be practicable, but I mean, wouldn't it be great if we lived in a world where every person's rights and privacy were somehow protected? But what would you do? Would you have a world court where you go and say, I want to wiretap Osama bin Laden? May I, sir? Please, sir, may I?
Well, one thing you have is encryption up the yin-yang.
Well, and that's, by the way, okay. So this goes back to this very fundamental conversation that I think we've talked about before. I know we have on security now, which is as soon as you say, as we did after 9/11, never again, then you have to get, then that gives permission to the NSA and everybody else to go for total information awareness because
that is the argument. And on the panel at The Guardian, Yochai Benkler, who's a brilliant legal mind.
I love him.
Harvard Berkman Center.
Yeah.
Said, he argued, Bob Kerrey said, we have this threat. We have Muhammad Atta sitting there doing this and that. We have to be able to stop him. And Yochai came back and said, no, the threat is overblown. And we've used that threat as a basis to trample rights. And he said, I grew up in Israel, and one gets used to certain things. And I wonder whether the NSA overreach is such that Americans will start to say, even Americans will start to say that.
I think at some point you have to presume that people like our Secretary of State and our President are men of goodwill who will pursue our interests judiciously and not use this to blackmail innocents. But then
no, I think the problem, but the problem is it's not just what they use in the end to blackmail. It's that along the way they try to gather every dot they can.
They have to.
Basic fact. No, they don't have to. They don't have to. Getting more dots doesn't make connecting the dots easier. It probably makes connecting the dots harder. The spies, by their nature, are going to gather everything they possibly can. The job of the politicians is to exercise oversight on them, to limit what they do and protect rights. That's the balance that should be struck here. And that balance is struck through Transparency sufficient that citizens can get mad at the executive branch. Transparency sufficient in courts that we know what they're actually doing. Transparency to Congress so that they can represent our interest and oversight. This Guardian panel, what it came down to is all oversight has fallen apart officially. The executive branch hasn't done bupkis. Congress isn't really doing anything. Feinstein only got mad when Angela Merkel's phone got bugged. The courts are secret. We don't know anything. The journalists are now afraid that their sources are going to be compromised. At the end of the day, Leo, the only oversight that can work now is the oversight coming from the conscience of an individual.
Right.
That is to say, a whistleblower.
Right. Edward Snowden.
Right. And they'd put a headline in The Guardian, I don't like, on this piece that I wrote about this, that it was about, Snowden, traitor, or that wasn't the discussion. The discussion, I think, is this notion of conscience. And to me, it comes down then, not just whistleblowing is conscience after the fact. Hey, this bad thing happened. What we also need is conscience before the fact. So, was there no, I'm going to go ahead and slime them because they're guessed to be the ones who did it. But a caveat here, alleged in rumors and repeatedly. But if Level 3 was the company that allowed the NSA to tap into the communications, not only in the internet as a whole, but also among Google and Yahoo servers, was there no employee of Level 3 who said, should we do that? Is that evil?
Oh, I doubt it worked that way. I'm sure they got a national security letter. I think that
a lot of this telco stuff is happening very voluntarily. They didn't need to get letters for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, but I think
But even then, so you have the Google employees who, when they found out that this tapping had been done
pissed, right?
To internal, and both of them said "F you" to Google. If one of those employees had been ordered to do something, all right, what does that employee do? Now, at some level, they try to refuse. They try to tell their bosses, we can't do this. Yes, if they go and try to whistleblow, they're violating the security letters. See why earlier larger efforts at official sanctions or official oversight do not work. But we, as a country, as a society, have to end up depending upon the conscience of a few geeks. The NSA is the largest employer in America of mathematicians. Do mathematicians have a Hippocratic oath? Do they use their power for good or ill? Do they even watch Spider-Man? You got at some point you got to say, in technologists have power at their hands. And I hearken back, and I did it. Maybe it's overkill because we're not exactly talking about the A-bomb here, but I hearken back to the letter, the Slizard letter, signed by I think 153 scientists out of the Manhattan Project, begging Harry Truman not to use the atomic bomb over Japan after Germany had surrendered. And the bosses held that letter up until the bomb was ready to go.
Yeah, let's not have any debate over this.
So,
because debate equals doing nothing, right? In that case, I think the perception was if we start to question it, we just got to go. Nobody's gonna. This is never gonna happen if you start to think about it. Let's just do it.
That was what it was. Yeah.
Okay, this is where I hate to bring a TV show back into the game, but this is where the most current episode of Homeland is kind of germane because there is a battle within the CIA between two different points of view. The old school point of view, which is you subvert foreign intelligence officers, you plant people in country, you do careful intelligence work to gather information. Or you just send a drone over and you blow them all the hell up. And it's a lot cheaper and easier and might even appear to be more effective, at least initially, just to blow them all up. And in fact, it looks like what we're doing. Our intelligence efforts failed. We couldn't coordinate our various intelligence agencies. The information that they knew about 9/11 and every other attack on the U.S. soil was there, but just never coordinated enough to do anything about it. At least those anyway. So just blow them up. Send a drone in. No American lives are at risk. And it's a blunt weapon, but it works. It seems like that's what's going on right now, right?
Robot war.
And
novels about that too.
I mean, that's pretty reprehensible. So I'd rather if it means going and looking at their porn habits and blackmailing them versus sending a drone over and killing a bunch of innocent civilians along with your Target.
If they're suspected terrorists, Leo, I don't disagree. The issue here is they didn't stop at collecting data on suspected terrorists. They collected it on all of us.
Well,
That's
not in
the
this
hard
case.
issue.
Not in this case.
They got our porn. They got all of our. They've recreated our. Not that any of us here have porn. They've got a
Right.
I actually. Whoa, Gina, what are you saying here? What are you saying?
No. I think it's funny because you're the guy that's always like, hey, you know what? Like everybody does all these things. Like we should lift the taboo, and that's the problem. Like the problem is that it's a big deal for anybody to have porn. Anyway,
I said in public parts that okay, yes, I've looked at porn. What's the big deal? And some interview once, I forget where it was, some foreign country made a big deal of saying, well, he even confessed to looking at porn.
Like you don't.
It's like it's such a revelatory confession. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, NSA. Okay, this is the Snowden identifies 6 targets, all Muslims. Presumably, I don't know, but presumably foreign nationals who were radicalized and considered dangerous. That
Again, Leo, if there is some reason to go after them, I don't think anyone disagrees. But the issue of blanket surveillance is that it is not selective. It is everything.
But they're going after jihadists.
In this case.
But you don't have evidence that they're going after you.
They are collecting data on me. Yes. They have photos of every letter sent to everyone in America.
Right.
They have metadata on me, my phone calls, my emails.
The NSA says, wherever you are, the NSA's databases store information about your political views, your medical history, your intimate relations, and your activity online, according to the Deputy Legal Director of the ACLU. The NSA says this personal information won't be abused. But these documents show the NSA probably defines abuse very narrowly. But my question, and it's somewhat of a rhetorical question, but my question is, well, what do you propose? You can't, after the fact, say, oh, well, let's find out what he did last month or last year. You have to collect it now. Isn't it reasonable for the NSA to say, look, we're just going to collect everything. We won't look at it until we have reason, and then we'll look at it. But unless we collect it now, we won't have it in 6 months when we need to find out.
We have a standard that defines what we do to Americans. Right? Let's just start there.
And they also say that they don't break the law with regard to Americans. I mean, whether you believe that or not, I don't know. They should be held to the law. I'm not saying they shouldn't.
But
it sounds like people are offended when they do things that are lawful as well.
At this point, yes, because it goes over the bounds of what we think, and that's the argument we're having. Start here. Wiretapping phones was done willy-nilly until the public said, "No, well, that's creepy. You can't do that." And then warrants were required for wiretaps. In other words, you had to be selective in what you went after. That's the principle at work here, is that there must be some measure of selectivity in who you're going after. And if you move to General Alexander's movement of collect it all, then you are going to collect information on all of us. Now, your argument against me could be, I learned the lesson from Dana Boyd that we should worry about the use of data over the collection of data. That limiting knowledge is a dangerous thing. So you could use that back on me and say, Jarvis, they're collecting information. Then the question becomes, do you really trust them to do that? Do you trust the government to just collect all of this information on all of us for the rare case?
That's the fundamental question. But Stephen Baker, who was one time general counsel for the NSA and a top Homeland Security official in the Bush administration, HuffPost quotes him saying, the idea of using potentially embarrassing information to undermine targets is a sound one. Quote, if people are engaged in trying to recruit folks to kill Americans and we can discredit them, we ought to. On the whole, it's fairer and maybe more humane than bombing a target, describing the tactic as dropping the truth on them. He says any system can be abused, but fears of the policy drifting to, for instance, domestic political opponents don't justify rejecting it. He says, quote, on that ground, you could question almost any tactic we use in a war. And at some point, you have to say we're counting on our officials to know the difference. Now, you're saying we don't trust them. So I'm saying, well, what's the alternative? Who's going to defend you? Who do you trust to defend you?
Transparency and oversight is the fix. Is to say that if they are reasonable people going after reasonable ends.
But they're not going to tell you, because they can't tell you, Jeff Jarvis, because that would make it public.
Well, this is an interesting thing.
And that would disarm them. So they need to tell somebody in secret.
But here, to an extent, one of the odd things,
your
that
proxy.
very interesting things that Kerry said to me was that he actually argues that more intelligence data should be crowdsourced. That when it comes to knowing, for example, what's going on in Syria, you get a lot more out of Brown Moses, the guy who sits in his room in London and looks at videos and looks at things and understands where the weapons are, than you get out of the spooks doing it. And by the way, the guy you just quoted, Stuart Baker, he debated Russ Berger and Janine Gibson of The Guardian a few weeks ago. And when I asked a question, I said I was Jeff Jarvis. And he said, "Oh, I know you. I watched Twig."
What? Hi, Stuart.
Nice.
So Stuart would be happy to be on the show.
He's saying the same thing I am. And
well,
I think that there's...
I asked Stuart if he would be on the show, and he said yes.
Good. I mean, I'm trying to make the same points he is, which is... Okay, so clearly we can't make it public because it'll mean that the tool is no longer useful. So we need to reveal it to your trusted proxy, Jeff Jarvis. Who is that?
It should be.
You're a member of Congress, right?
Yeah, but Congress doesn't know much what's going on. And when Ron Wyden did know what's going on, he had to hint to us for years. He wasn't allowed to say anything. He wasn't to have any means where the oversight was effective. He
can't, because if he tells us what's going on, it will make it unusable. Do you recognize the need for some secrecy?
He's not trying to make that porn stuff you're arguing about unusable. What he's trying to make unusable is the broad blanket collection. He asked straightforward intelligence officials before Congress whether they were collecting data on millions of us, because he knew they were, and they lied.
And they lied. I understand.
They lied.
But they lied. Understand why? Understand why General Clapper lied. He lied. He believed, whether this is true or not, he lied in our interest, in our best interest. He felt it was better.
Welcome to the Politburo, comrade.
Well, I'm just saying you got to give us an alternative so that we can pursue some policy to protect ourselves. So what is that alternative? You have a Congress you don't trust. Okay. Well, then who?
That's exactly the problem I'm raising. I have courts that are gagged. I have Congress people who are gagged. I have an executive branch that's going too far. I have journalists who are now afraid of talking to sources because their contacts are all known. That's why I'm saying that at the end of the day,
it's not unusual for intelligence officials to lie in public hearings. They do it all the time. They have to. It's a public hearing.
Well, but they violated the law too. He committed perjury.
I understand, but and he understood what he was doing, I'm sure, but I think he also felt like he had to protect. I mean, it ended up futile because of Edward Snowden, but he felt. Look, I'm not justifying it, but I'm trying to argue the other. We rarely hear that other point of view, which is, look, you want to be protected against terrorists. This is what we need to do to protect against terrorists. What can we do?
Well, right there. That's the argument that I think Yochai would make. Who's to say that we do need to do that? That's the challenge that needs to be made, is that the fact that the internet allows you to collect more and more and more means you should collect more and more because you can collect more and more.
You agree to the premise that there are people outside and inside the United States who would like to do us harm.
I saw their handiwork firsthand. Yeah. Yes.
What do you propose as a means to ideally ferret them out and keep them from doing us harm? Or maybe ideally would be to eliminate them, but let's say to ferret them out and keep us from doing harm. How do we do that?
I think that you set some principles that we live by and that courts and Congress can check. And that one of those principles that I think is what comes out of the NSA argument is that collecting everything on everyone is not acceptable. That you must have some targeted basis of your collection.
The problem is
that we need to define that.
The problem is that I think that I would guess, and maybe we can get Stuart on it. He can explain this. That doesn't work, and because we have the means to do total information awareness, we need to pursue that with what they believe, I'm sure, is proper safeguards. We're going to seal it. It's sealed. It's vaulted until we have a person of interest. And now, thank goodness, we've been collecting all this information. We can go through it in light of that person of interest, collect the information we need to take that person out.
And it was justifiable.
It feels like the opposite of innocent until proven guilty. You know what I mean?
I understand that, but I think it's also practical and pragmatic.
Let me bring it to technical terms, both of you. Do you think it was justified for the NSA to tap into the internal server connections among Google servers?
Well, see, there's two answers to that. One, it's reprehensible and I hate it. Two, I think we gave them permission. In fact, we gave them a mandate to do that when we said, hey, protect us.
Gina?
That's crazy. Totally disagree.
Okay, all right.
That's crazy talk.
I did not give anybody permission to collect everything that I do online.
No, you didn't. When you say protect me, okay, so you didn't say protect me with any means necessary. You said protect me, but I don't want you to do anything that I think is bad. And what if they come back to you and say, but wait a minute, we can't protect you unless we do these particular things?
No, I'm saying I'm an American citizen, protect me, and I'm assuming that means within the system that we've set up, right? And within the system that we set up, you have to have just cause to search somebody's stuff. I mean,
you don't. This is all legal.
Yeah. Right. It's all legally in secret, right? Because everyone's...
It's legal. I mean, we should have voted out the sons of bitches that passed the Patriot Act, maybe.
Well, even the author of the Patriot Act says he wants to change it now.
I know. But it's the law. Here's
the technical question for you. I want to come back to this notion of the conscience of the individual. So you're both working for level 3. And you're given the little box that the good pastor on the Twit network showed us. You said, hook this up into these cables. What cables are those? They're the ones in Google.
Those fiber optic ones over there.
What do you do?
You do it because it's a legally it's a representative of it's the people. It's a representative of the people.
What do you do?
I mean, I like to think that I would say no. I'm not doing this.
What if you found out? What if there were the thought that by saying no that you would actually enable an attack on the?
That's what Yochai argues is bogus.
Well, we don't know though. We don't know that.
Well, but we never can. So what you're justifying is the police state. Because there's no break. There's no end. They will collect everything on everyone in case anything could be valuable.
Right. And then what they do, is they say, we're going to collect everything, but we are going to follow strict rules. And they believe they are doing this, by the way, strict rules about what we do with that information. We promise we're going to protect U.S. citizens. But when it comes down to we've got a person of interest, we need to have that prior data. We need to, because otherwise, what law enforcement is very concerned about is they're peering into that there is a dark net, that they cannot see into encryption, they cannot see into what is going on. And frankly, I got to think that what Google is doing by encrypting its level 3 traffic, and Yahoo's now doing it, and everybody else is going to start doing that, is going to scare law enforcement. They say, oh my God, now we're really screwed. We can't find any of this information. Then what do we do?
What did they do before the telephone?
Well, I would argue that just as the internet has given them unprecedented ability to collect this information, it's also given the bad guys, technology has given the bad guys unprecedented ability to attack us on our shores. So it was a different, you can't compare this to the days of muskets. It's a very different world. And I feel like these people are acting in their mind honorably. And I feel like the onus is a little bit on them, but it's also a little bit on us, because I do believe we are asking them to protect us, and that we are concerned that there's a threat. And I think there is some onus on us to propose a system that works, instead of just going, no, you can't collect information, because that may not be workable. If it turned out, I mean, this is completely hypothetical. If it turned out that there was, if we don't collect this information, there'll be another 9/11. Which would you choose?
That's so reductionist, though, Leo.
No, I understand, but it's a hypothetical. No, I'm saying it's hypothetical. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a huge set of assumptions there. I don't know.
It's hypothetical that all this collection has stopped things. The arguments that are made about things.
Yeah, I've made that argument too. I mean, I understand that, but I'm trying to make the argument on the other side just so that it's a little more balanced. I mean, what if it does stop this stuff? Would you be willing to allow well-supervised gathering of information.
But you keep on coming back to supervised. The problem is, that's my point about
that's what you're asking
there
for.
is no supervision.
Okay, so let's get the supervision working, and then it's okay?
From abuse.
If we have the oversight, is it okay then?
That oversight, it ain't oversight if the oversight can't say no.
Okay, but let's say we have a perfect system and we have oversight. Then is it okay?
If the oversight is able to say what goes too far, and we trust those people to say what goes too far, yes, that's the point of oversight.
How about you, Gina? Is it okay for them to spy on you if there's oversight?
My point is they're not going to spy on you if the oversight's proper.
Why not?
Because you're a good guy.
Assuming that that I'm not a person of interest,
yes,
right, for whatever reason. Or that I am a person. Like, am I okay with it if they have a good reason? Yes. Am I okay with, am I okay with it if they don't have a good reason? No. Okay. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
exactly.
And, I understand also, and somebody's saying, well, that just justifies torture. No, I mean, the thing is, you have to think broadly. Torture doesn't work because it causes more problems than it solves, and the information you get is not useful. Drones don't work because it radicalizes people and creates more terrorism. There are things that you can't do because they don't work. But what if there's something that works, like finding out some radicals into porn and using it to discredit him? What if that works? Is that so bad?
It's just a good story.
All right, enough of that.
Porn is the cat of spy stories.
This is hard stuff. I think it's very hard stuff.
It is. It's fascinating. I don't know if the chat room's interested or not. Are they?
No. I think this is something we all have to, as U.S. citizens and citizens of the world, we all have to have this conversation. It's a hard conversation.
Well, and also the issue, there's an economic issue here, is can anyone trust America and American companies anymore? And can they trust our governance of the internet, which, let's be honest, we really have? That is going to face us square on real fast. And I think that cloud companies are going to lose business. Cloud technology is going to lose trust. America is going to lose trust, and America is going to lose power over the internet to people who really are bad guys. And that's because we went overboard. There's abuse here, and the abuse saw no oversight. That's the issue.
Right.
And now what's new with Android?
To be clear, any culture where someone looking at porn is such a shaming thing that it's just, I'm totally in favor of shaming anybody about porn.
I use that example of homosexuality because that is the best argument for making same-sex marriage legal. Then you can't be blackmailed for it.
Yes.
Right.
That was the primary argument I made in public parts, is that publicness disarms stigma.
Right.
Publicness makes these connections. Transparency does these things. And that's why, you're right. Obviously, you can't make all spying transparent, but that's why I was amazed when Bob Kerrey argued that a lot more intelligence should be open and transparent and crowdsourced, because it's transparent anyway.
Right.
And they just try to make it secret then. I talked to Wolfowitz once at a reception in Washington. Some people will now growl at me for even talking to him. And it was about blogs, in the early days of blogs and the Iraqi blogs. And he said that he yelled at his intelligence people and said, I get up in the morning, I read these Iraqi blogs. I know more about what's going on in the country than you're telling me.
Right. I think that, unfortunately, here's what I would lobby for, something a little simpler. Unfortunately, these conversations have become so polarized and so tied to people's beliefs, political beliefs, that we don't hear the other person. And it really is just this kind of futile beating our heads against each other. And if we really are going to solve these questions, very tough questions, we need to listen, we need to hear. And I don't think we should assume that people are acting from bad intentions. I think, in fact...
No, I think the spies are doing what I don't blame the spies, actually. I mean, I do blame at some level. I don't blame the spies who are spies. They're going to go to the limits of what they can do. I blame those who we expect to set the limits. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But then I am asking the next question, which I think is an important one, especially for folks like us who follow technology, is that at the end of the day, a technologist doing one cog's turn in this machine has an ethical responsibility. And I mean what I said before, doctors have a Hippocratic oath. Journalists, even though we don't always follow it, we think we have ethical oaths and statements. Other fields, academics believe that they have statements. about their ethics as a trade, as a craft, as a profession. Do technologists, do programmers, do system administrators, do mathematicians talk about ethics? So after the financial crash, we got all upset that business schools weren't teaching ethics to business people who have power. Well, technologists have more power than business people. Do technologists have these discussions about ethics? Are there professional organizations that are trying to examine these ethics? Are there these kinds of discussions among the technologists who are the ones who turn these switches?
I gave an interview for a since unfortunately submarine movie about hackers in I think it's 2003, in which I said the hackers will be the freedom fighters in the years to come. That it won't be weapons. That we will need to maintain our knowledge and our use of technology so that we can fight for freedom.
So there's the problem, is that then that's an anarchistic statement. Because rather than trusting the institutions, rather than trusting the employed legitimate technologists, what we're saying is, and this is an argument I've had with you, Gina, is that the hacking culture is, we'll just go around it and that's okay. Where what I'm looking for is the Talmud of techies.
Right, right. Well, look, I think about ethics a lot. I try to think about it. I talk about it a lot. I think that some coders do and some coders don't. It depends. But, there's the person turning the screw, and there's the person telling them to turn the screw, and then there's the boss telling the manager. I mean, that the responsibility lays certainly on the shoulders of the person who's crimping the Ethernet cord and plugging it in and typing the code, but also their bosses and their bosses. So I don't think that you can rest it squarely on the shoulders of the technologists. Like if the actual technologists had stopped and said, I'm not doing this, I'm walking out, because they're cogs, most likely they would just be replaced or they would lose their job. I mean, Snowden sacrificed his entire life.
Yeah, well, he paid a high price, didn't he?
What he said. I mean, he sacrificed his entire. It wasn't just his job.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
He sacrificed his freedom and his life.
Chelsea Manning as well.
Chelsea Manning,
I'm not trying to say that all the responsibility. It's a good point, Gina, and I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not saying that all the responsibility lies in the technologists. What I'm saying is that is the oversight of last resort. At last resort, one honest person of conscience puts the brakes on and says, should we do this? Is this evil?
Yeah, good.
I mean, the unfortunate truth is a lot of nerds, and I include myself in this a little bit, are apolitical,
right?
Right. And who have just sort of decided that the system doesn't make sense, and it deals with messy humans and their emotions and their relationships, and therefore is illogical, and therefore I just will not participate in it, right? You have, I think, a lot of that in the tech community, not to generalize. So there's a weakness there, and I think that with the Gov 2.0 movement and some of the more recent awareness around what's been going on, particularly with Snowden. I think Snowden is an incredible role model. I think geeks are becoming more aware and are thinking more about their responsibilities. But I think we could go further. I think that I would love to see, or I would love to, even have a hand in drafting the Hippocratic Oath. I don't know of any organizations off the top. I'll look into it more.
I would love, because I would love to write about that and see and.
But what ethics do you teach, though? I mean,
in journalism school?
I mean, no, but I mean, just saying, what do you teach? I don't even know if there's a clear right or wrong here.
Well, I'll give you an example from journalism, and Lord knows it's
what
not,
does "don't be evil" mean?
Well, in journalism, it's that the reader. The whole argument now about native advertising, about all this stuff that you see on BuzzFeed and Forbes, where it's the Scientology thing on the Atlantic, there's a lot of that going around. And last term, my students went to see one of the practitioners of this stuff, and they came back in class, and I realized I was teaching ethics way too late in the term, because they were all kind of shrugging. Oh yeah, it's fine, you need money. I said, whoa. And by the way, it was the week that I was being observed as to whether or not I should become a full professor. And I got it anyway. But the issue is, in my field, for example, right, when it comes to native advertising, the reader must never be confused about the source of content, of information, right? That if there is a vested interest at heart, then it should be revealed. That's as David Weinberger has said, transparency is the new objectivity, right? That's an ethical statement. I
think that's a little simpler and an easier problem to solve.
I agree.
Than the problem of how do we protect ourselves and still preserve our values? I mean, that's really the fundamental question. How do we protect ourselves and still preserve the values of our republic?
Yes, our rights. Yes, that's exactly the question. And what role does an individual have in doing that?
You can say, I know what the values of America are. I mean, I think that's well known. But then, how do you protect yourself? And I think it's very difficult.
And as you were saying earlier, Leo, anybody can convince themselves that the thing that they're doing is the right thing.
Yeah.
And also the other way, Gina, what Bob Kerrey said was he said he couldn't buy the argument that Yochai was making and I was making about this. And because what he said is that if you have a group working to get against the threat, Yochai wasn't fully buying the threat, but the threat, one member of that team can't suddenly just say, well, I don't agree with this and I'm going to reveal everything. And I get his point. Now, Yochai was arguing, interestingly, for amnesty for Snowden. And that there was a principle to be written there that said that if what was revealed caused change in society, whether through law or through courts, and caused a reversal of something because it was revealed, then that should be seen as of societal value and that you should have amnesty for your revelation. Kerry wasn't buying that at all because he was saying at a practical level, how do you run an intelligence operation, probably what you're saying, Leo, with the thought that anyone in my team here could turn around and say, yeah, you're all evil. Right?
I mean, that's not how the military works, right? It's chain of command.
No.
You trust your superiors. You do what you see, because you can't have a soldier making ethical decisions on the field of battle.
Right. It's not a place for independent thinkers. Let's just be.
But you can't. It doesn't. My point is, it doesn't work.
Well, but
you got to do what works.
There are still lines. When Lieutenant Calley kills a village,
right? I agree. There's lines. Yep.
There's a line.
There's a line.
Now let's hope the line doesn't have to be so obvious as that.
He was violating, by the way.
Yes.
The rules of his superiors. I mean, he was acting illegally. So that's not a question. In fact, well, anyway, let's not, you know what? This is a great conversation. Let's end it here. Because we have a long show and there's more to do.
This was a good conversation.
I think it's a great conversation to have.
We haven't had one like this in a while. I enjoy this. I don't know if the audience likes it or not.
I don't know. You know when you're highly uncomfortable that it's a good conversation. Yeah, and you're right, Leo. You know, playing devil's advocate and explaining, you know, the other point of view. I think it's important for these kinds of debates. I actually earlier, Jeff, you were talking about crowdsourcing intelligence, kind of related. This is in our rundown. Eric Schmidt said in a speech recently that we should drop smartphones on Iran and Iraq.
Oh, that'll solve the problem.
That'll solve the problem.
That'll do it. I think
the people surveil themselves.
I think he's right. I would hope what he's saying is access to the internet and information changes hearts and minds.
Or he's also saying that Android should penetrate every country in the world.
It just happens to be good for business too.
I think that dots just occupies their time so much that they don't have any time to build on.
Give them Angry Birds. Then we'll see. I want to do the Google changelog. Let's play the trumpets and bring in Gina Trapani. Time to see what's new at Google.
The Google changelog.
What is new? Gina has the story.
Brand new Google Chrome extension enables voice search in your browser. So you install this Chrome extension, it's by Google, and then you go to google.com and you can say, just like you can to your phone or in Google Now or your Android phone, I guess iOS too, okay, Google, and do searches. So Google said that the new extension is ideal for those preparing a Thanksgiving feast this week, here in the US anyway. This year, rather than stopping midway to wash your hands to type in a search, you can just speak to your laptop. Okay, Google, how many ounces are in 1 cup? And voila, the cooking can go on. The extension also supports reminders. So you can say, okay, Google, set a timer for 30 minutes. And when you're once installed, you have to give Chrome permission to access your computer's microphone and then say, okay, Google, to activate the hot word. Your microphone is not always listening when you have this Chrome extension installed, or at least it's only listening. It listens for OK Google, but it doesn't record everything else related to our earlier conversation. So I think
I already found that irritating, Gina, because I had the Google search page up where we were playing before, but then it times out. So I have to go to the effort then of going to the Google homepage again. And there's no battery issue here. Why I should have the option to set my laptop all the time.
So Chrome can always do it. Yeah, it's really annoying to have to go to google.com.
It is. It actually is.
It is a little.
It's a first step.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me. They've just revolutionized the way we interact with computers, and already I'm complaining. 5 minutes later.
Hey, I have to go to google.com, and then I can talk to it. Okay, Google. How tall is Yao Ming? It doesn't talk back, which makes me mad.
Is your sound up?
I think so. Does yours talk?
Hold on, let me see here.
No, I don't think it talks. My phone talks.
Okay, Google. How tall is Yao Ming?
It doesn't talk back, which makes me mad. It talks back in my voice.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
I still had the stream on.
Yeah. Do you have, Brian, do you have my audio up? I do. Yeah, I think it doesn't talk back. Is it an option?
I think it does. Let me try here.
Everybody's going to try it. All our volumes are turned down because we don't...
with the stream on.
Okay,
yeah.
Google. How tall is Leo Laporte?
Doesn't know.
Oh, that's not going to be a card, is it? No. It has to, because it's only going to respond with a
it's
card.
Not going to know that.
Okay, Google. How many ounces in a cup?
That's a good one.
I like that Leo just whispered.
Yeah, it just talked to me.
It did talk to you.
It did. You guys couldn't hear it because obviously it was in my headphones, but it said, yeah, 1 U.S. cup is 8 U.S. ounces.
Okay. So I don't know. Maybe my audio's not up or Google voice search hot word, allow in incognito options. Let me see here.
Okay, Google.
Yeah, it says stop listening.
Leo Laporte?
For after 5 minutes.
According to Wikipedia, Leo Laporte is an American technology broadcaster.
Okay, good. I like it. The talking back is at least a big part of the functionality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my phone will do that.
You can have your computer anywhere and get information.
Now we already observed, as you noted, one problem, which is that I have multiple devices that respond to OK Google, and it gets a little crazy.
I think you should do. I think you should get everybody's devices together that can do this and do a little a shtick about this. I think that could be very funny. Well done.
Somebody pointed out that if you do Command T or Control T to get a new tab page, that will give you a Google search. So that's all you really have to do is Command T. Okay, Google.
But I killed that page in Chrome because I was still.
Oh, you don't like that page?
Closed at the bottom.
Oh, that's no good.
Oh yeah. See, my new page is recently visited.
Yeah. Yeah, you could change that. That's a setting.
Yeah. But I like the set a reminder for 30 minutes. That's pretty cool.
Really nice.
I do coding sprints and like hour coding sprints. It would set a timer for 60 minutes and just code.
Hey, Google.
Yeah, I dig it.
Hey, Jarvis. Okay, Jarvis.
that was your computer that got it? That was Chrome? Yeah. Nice.
People have told me that I was a fool to tell them right off the bat that it was Iron Man, that I should have claimed credit.
Is it Iron Man? No, it's Jeff Jarvis.
Yeah,
wait a minute, let's try it.
It's 20
Okay, Jeff Jarvis. Okay, Jeff Jarvis. Yeah,
you're being too tentative. You're not believing this.
Okay, Jeff Jarvis.
What are you doing, Hal? I wanted to respond to that.
Well, anyway, I think this is cool. I want to see more, and I want to see more stuff you can say. More and more of our device. This is clearly something that's going to happen, right?
Although I don't use it that much. I mean, I really only use the voice stuff when I'm in the car or with the baby. When my hands are. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Would you use it more though if it were smarter and were more interactive and conversational? I bet you would.
Maybe
it just has to work better. That's
standing in the street, being like, "Okay, Google."
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Twit. Somebody said it works with OK Twit. Okay, Twit. Sorry, it doesn't work with OK Twit. Okay, keep going. You're not done.
All right, I'm not done. HBO Go on iOS and Android can now stream to the Chromecast. This is a big deal. So Chromecast can now stream from, and this is from the native apps. There's a little Chromecast button inside the native apps. Chromecast can now stream from Pandora, Hulu Plus, Netflix, and YouTube, and now HBO Go. So this was long awaited. They announced that it would be HBO Go when the Chromecast was announced several months ago. So that's in the latest update for HBO Go now.
Since you're mentioning
Google
Chromecast,
Wallet.
there's another story in the rundown that says Chromecast is now being sold at Walmart.
Yeah, you can get it everywhere.
It does start to think that Chromecast can go mainstream, which is pretty cool.
I really think, though, it has to have more capabilities. You've really got to add to it.
Yeah, everything has to support it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Particularly Android on or Chrome on Android, right? Like you can't cast from Chrome on Android, which makes you crazy. You can cast from Chrome on your.
Oh, that's. I didn't know that. Huh.
Oh,
Yeah. Like if you want to send something from your phone to Chromecast, unless I'm wrong, chat room, correct me if I'm wrong. But and I thought it was just because Chrome on Android doesn't support extensions yet.
Oh.
But anyway. Google Wallet. We talked about the Google Wallet card last week. Leo just got his. There's an update to the Android app that lets you add additional cards to your Google Wallet just by photographing them. So you snap a picture of your credit or debit card, and the number and the expiration date will be captured automatically.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're just trying to do everything they can to make Google Wallet easy to use.
So it does a scan, huh?
Yeah. Right.
So really, I should just go through my wallet and add everything to it.
Just snap pictures. Yeah, and that's an update to the Android Google Wallet app.
But would it wouldn't see the what is that CVC number on the back, though? I'd have to add that later somehow.
Right.
I should get my wallet. Keep going. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go get my wallet. Yeah.
There is a new refreshed interface for Google's account permissions page. This is the page that lists all the apps that you've signed into Google and given access to your Google account to. It's at security.google.com/settings/security/permissions. It gives you the same information. It just lists it kind of a nicer way. Big icons. It lets you know what each app has access to. For example, Hangouts or Feedly or Picasa, third-party and internal Google apps. And you can see also, if you click on one of the apps that you've granted access, you can see when you gave access, and you can revoke access as well. So kind of if you're here in the U.S., kind of a good holiday weekend activity. Just clean up your permissions if there's old stuff in there you don't use anymore. And finally, Google adds airports, train, and subway stations to Street View in a Google Maps update. So this was on the Lat Long blog. Basically, this is about Thanksgiving travel here in the U.S. You can kind of do a street view around train stations like the Waterloo station in the UK, or different airports from Tokyo to Dubai. Kind of cool. You could check out, I think you just search for stations, and you'll be able to zoom in and do the street view, so you can see ahead what's it going to look like when you reach your destination. And that's all I got.
Play the drums. So I don't see where I can add a credit card by taking a picture. So maybe I just don't have the latest version.
Maybe they didn't get the update. Let's see. Yeah, release an update to the Android app. Let's look at the Android app.
Yeah, they do that. They do the rolled out updates. And where would it be? I see my balance that I put in there.
So it looks like, I'm looking in the Play Store. There's an update pushed out yesterday. Add credit debit card just by taking a picture.
Wait a minute. Here's credit and debit cards. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Here's a push button. Now, can I take... Oh, look. Camera button. Maybe I can scan your credit or debit card. Oh, this is awesome. Let's see. Okay, put the numbers right over the numbers. Yes, it got it. You don't even have to take a picture. Oh, okay, so it got the number, but I still have to put the expiration and the CVC and all that stuff.
Wait a second. I'm just if I just happen to take anybody's credit card from a wallet, I can put it into my wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah. Well, you have to have enough time with it to take a picture and get this additional information.
I just never thought that. Boy, that seems like light security.
Yeah, hold on to your credit cards.
Yeah, well, you don't give your credit card to people and then have them disappear.
I give them all that data.
All you need is a waiter with a Google Wallet app, and every time somebody pays, it walks away with your card.
This is it.
Snap a photo.
This is it. Okay, I'm going to add that. Add card.
The expiration date should be captured automatically. It mustn't have gotten the read on yours.
It might not have seen it. Oh, I can give each card a color too. So you can choose what color you want your card to be. That one should be blue. Or maybe gray. Oh, let's make it blue. Wow. That was pretty easy.
Where do I get that, Leo?
Huh?
Where do I get that in the app?
So it's hard to find because basically you have to go into settings. And then it says payment methods, credit and debit cards. And then you have a list, and then you press the plus sign. You could show this, Brian. It's nothing. There's nothing.
I got it. Okay.
Then press the plus
picture.
sign.
I got it.
And then there's a little camera icon right there. So it does normally pick up. Maybe it just couldn't on my card because of the glare or whatever.
I have a United Airlines. I don't want a card, and no one can ever read the number because it's embossed badly. I'll bet it wouldn't take that one.
This is cool. What else don't you know? What other cards can I put in? Oh, I'm sorry. We're doing a show. Never mind.
Can you put in your Starbucks card? Or
does this do loyalty cards?
It does.
Well, it does limited loyalty.
It's kind of like Coin.
It's very
I
cool.
wonder how much of this is in response to Coin. Like, we better rush these features along.
It happened so quickly. It's hard to think that it was a response. I mean, this was the rumors of this physical card had been around for a while, but they're definitely doing a push, and it seems like Coin was too recent for it to. Yeah. It's funny that the two things landed at the same time.
Eric Schmidt said some months ago, and we said it on the show, that Google at one point thought of starting a currency, and they said, well, we wouldn't do that because governments don't like that. Now Bitcoin is getting acceptance, and other currencies are coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Google Bucks.
I think they should.
Google Bucks.
Every science fiction novel from the 70s and 80s Google basically had corporate, including the great William Gibson novels like Neuromancer, had corporations were the governments. Transnationals were, in fact, the de facto governments of the world. That's only a matter of time. Right?
Yep.
But Google's building flying cars, too, and I think that really means the end times are near. This is a stealth company that maybe it's right next to Google, maybe even inside Google. It doesn't look like anything I'd want to drive. The patent covers personal aircraft. It's assigned to Z Aero, a stealth company in Mountain View. And apparently Z Aero's offices are near Shoreline Lake in Mountain View, and that's apparently very close. It could very easily be a Google skunk's work. I think Sergey Brin would like to have a flying car. He probably has some, trusted minions working on it.
Okay, dumb question. Isn't a flying car just a little plane? I mean, isn't it just a personal plane? Why are we
There
calling
used
it
to
a
be a
flying car?
sitcom. Now, Leo, see this? There was a sitcom about a guy who had a flying car. When it landed, you basically just folded the wheels up. Do you remember that? Wasn't very long on the. This is back in our youth, sir.
They have these
Supercar?
little personal planes. There was one on display in Terminal 5 at JFK. It was like it was a little over a year now, but it was like a personal plane, and it kind of folded up. I mean, it was a little big for a garage. But
the Jetsons? Is that what you're thinking of? I don't know.
I forget what it was. I actually made a note of it because I was like, when I'm rich, I'm going to buy one of these because I love flying. So it was like 40 or 50. I don't feel like it was that much
chat
money.
Room, is there anybody there over 55? Bob Cummings, right. It was a Bob Cummings show. You're right.
Bob Cummings. I loved him.
I did too.
Don't know. So apparently the author of this, who's a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, Caleb Garling, emailed Google and got a response from Dr. Crew. Thanks for your interest and note this morning. As you gathered, I am working on some interesting transportation ideas at an early-stage startup in Mountain View near Google and other tech companies, but not affiliated with them. The company is in early stages, still in stealth mode, and we have not been talking to people about our flying car. Thank you, but I'll let you know. So there. Too bad. I would like a Google flying car.
I would.
Yeah. Have you been Scroogled?
Oh, man.
You probably talked about this last night. The Pawn Stars and all of that.
We didn't. I actually missed this. I'm so sad because I love Pawn Stars. I love that show. When I went to Vegas, I went to the shop. I was totally fangirl. And then I saw this ad and I was like, this
now
is
you
so
hate them.
Now it's so misguided.
Oh, these guys would do anything for money. Give me a break. You think the Pawn Stars are in it for the fame and fortune? They're pawn brokers. So if you go to Scroogled.com, this is a continuing campaign for Microsoft that is so stupid and misguided. Yeah. Created by Mark Penn, former pollster for Hillary Clinton, got fired by the Clinton team in 2008 after she lost a bunch of primaries. He's a political, dirty trickster, let's face it. Yeah. Here's the Scroogled on the mail, the first one I saw a couple of days ago. Think Google respects your privacy? Think again. Google goes through every Gmail that's sent or received looking for keywords so they could target Gmail users with paid ads. And there's no way to opt out of this invasion of your privacy.
Presses. Jesus.
Tell Google to stop. Sign the petition. Outlook.com is different. We don't scan the content of your email to target you with ads.
Because we can't sell any ads. We have no revenue.
We do, however, scan your email for anti-spam.
Microsoft, feel sorry for us.
I love this, too. You can buy a mug. You can go shopping. Oh, that's Google Shopping. Let me see. Where's the store? There it is. Click the store. Here's the Google mug. There's a Scroogled logo hat. Don't you love the logo of the spider with the chrome, like it's a Black Widow, except instead of an hourglass, it has the chrome logo. The mug says, "Keep calm while we steal your data."
It's just, Jesus. Can't they just be subtle a little bit?
This is political dirty tricks.
Are they going to argue it's fair use of the trademark?
I know. I thought it was interesting that they are using the trademark. I guess they have to. I'm watching you.
Are they just trying to bait Google into?
If you used Procter & Gamble's trademarks in an attempt to slander them,
the New York Times has stopped every parody that comes out. I think they're trying to bait Google into doing something that Google should.
Oh, come on! This is so stupid. Step into a web. The T-shirt has a spider in it. Don't get Scroogled. I just think this is what happens when you hire political operatives.
I'll bet the T-shirts sell better than Windows.
They probably do. So the latest is the Pawn Stars. This is a hit piece on Chrome, Google Chromebooks.
I got this Google Chromebook as a gift from my mom. I brought it in today, hoping to get enough cash out of it to get to Hollywood.
Oh, I'm sure that's what Mom wanted you to do with her nice gift, is pawn it so you can go to Hollywood and become a drug addict, live on Sunset Boulevard.
Hi, I'm looking to trade in this gift for a ticket to Hollywood.
What makes you think it's worth that much?
It's a laptop.
This is the Google Chromebook, a relatively new kind of device. Because Chromebook applications are web-based, when you're not connected, it's pretty much a brick. That's a major drawback. Traditional PC
I could do a better fake laugh than that.
Built-in applications like Office and iTunes that work even when you're offline. You see this thingy?
I'll tell you this, Gina. You could see that these Pawn Stars have really become television, celebrity. They really understand how the medium works now. They're very comfortable on camera. I'm impressed. Even when they're selling out.
I mean, he says that as if any computer isn't anything more than really a calculator when it's not connected.
Right.
I mean, with the exception of games that you can play, without being connected. Like, it's just such a terrible. If you're not connected, it might as well be a brick. It's like, most computers are. Anyway.
Real laptop. It doesn't have Windows or Office.
Wait a minute. It doesn't have Windows or Office, so it's not a real laptop?
Without Wi-Fi, it doesn't do much at all. And when you
wait a minute, all Chromebooks have Wi-Fi. Oh, I see. If you are in a Wi-Fi access spot, right, it doesn't do much at all.
Right. Also, doesn't mention the fact that there's data connections from a lot of Chromebooks.
Wait a minute,
like that you can have a Chromebook with data.
Let's do this again.
More online, Google tracks what you do so they can sell ads.
What? Honey, you got a job in Hollywood. You are good.
That's how you get Scroogled.
Just raise that eyebrow.
What's a Scroogled?
Google is always trying.
So that old guy, is he always clueless like that? Is that part of his shtick?
Yeah, it's part of his shtick. He's the dad. He's like the old-fashioned dad.
to make more money off your personal information. This Chromebook hardware makes it even easier for them.
Not going to Hollywood, am I?
Not with a Google Chromebook. You might get to Reno.
Unfortunately, I can't buy everything, especially when it's not what it appears to be. And this is not a real laptop.
That's exactly
I'm
what
not
it
buying
appears
this
to be.
one. I don't want to get Scroogled.
It's good.
Well,
it's good.
I was hoping the guys would take this thing off my hands, but I appreciate how honest they were. Scroogled. Who knew?
Your mom was Scroogled when she gave you that horrible gift. That's what I don't like about this. My mom gave me this. Can I pawn it? Anyway, I think that's a good ad. It's not, silly.
Leo,
I mean, it's perfectly in the format of the show.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
I just put in the rundown. Bob Cummings flying his flying car.
Oh, how exciting!
The comments in the rundown.
Oh, let me click the comments and let's take a take a flight. I have old comments here. There we go.
There we go.
Oh,
That's
look at that.
That's it. That's
I'll take it. The new Bob Cummings show.
So much better than the old Bob Cummings show.
Even though there was a Bob Cummings show.
That's the last shot of it. You can.
He's driving a flying car.
So is the difference between a flying car and a plane the fact that a flying car has like a wheel?
4 wheels, yes. And you can fold up the wings. That's what happens.
That's a good question. It really is just a personal plane, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so I found the personal plane. It's the Icon aircraft. There's this like personal, it's $190,000, which, you know, not cheap. But the wings actually fold up.
Huh. Yeah, there's quite a few things like that.
Yeah, sport flying.
I don't think really this is a great idea. I don't want a rush hour above my head.
Well, one of the discussions in journalism circles is that for journalists to start to use drones, the problem is, of course, that the ones with the carbon wings and rotors and all that, if they fall, if journalists are bad pilots, they could kill people.
Oh, but it make the CNN race to get home so much more. Are you seeing this today? The CNN is spending so many of hours of its airtime on a race from of its reporters to get home from New York to D.C. They're tweeting. There's like the great race. It's like, what? There's no news today?
There clearly isn't no news today.
That's what they need. They need a flying car.
It is cool.
I am bummed about this, although I think I'm understanding it a little bit better. 23andMe, it's the one where you spit into the vial, and then you get your genetic analysis. The FDA says
illegal vial right here.
You have one? Are you going to do it?
I bought it for the follow up. I've already done it once, so folks can see. You get this kit.
The spit kit.
Then there is a little vial that you spit and spit and spit.
You have to do a lot of spitting. It requires a significant amount of spitting.
And then you send it in, and then they analyze your DNA. Now, the FDA is saying, as you were saying, Leo.
Well, they're concerned, and I think they want 23. I think they've suspended their 23andMe sales right now because they want 20. They've asked them in the past, and they haven't. 23andMe did not respond to show that their genetic testing is real, because their concern is that people are going to do this and then, based on the results of this 23andMe test, have their breasts cut off, or somehow act in some crazy way because of perceived health risks. This is my 23andMe. The truth is, you get so little information from this. But they're saying, if you have twice, this is a good example. My risk of coronary heart disease is 1.24 times higher than the average. Should I be worried about it? My risk of prostate cancer, 2.43 times. But you know why? Because I'm a white male from European ancestry. So I don't know how useful. Exfoliation glaucoma, 2.9 times more likely. But my risk is still only 2.2%. So their concern, and I think this is not an illegitimate concern, is that people will act on this as if this is health information.
But this is the same issue, I argue, as getting mammograms and prostate tests. And it goes back actually to our security discussion. The knowledge isn't the problem. The problem is what you do with it.
Yes, and that's what some doctors say is this, you're still going to have to go to a doctor, and the doctor's going to have to agree to do a procedure.
Yeah.
But the same issue comes up for these full body scan places, right? They do a lot of advertising out here. I don't know if they do it back there.
We're not as narcissistic as all of you are in California.
You can go in and this is like a storefront where they have like MRI machines and CAT scans, and you go in and it's like proactively tell you what's wrong with you. And most physicians I know say it's a terrible idea. Not because it's dangerous, but because because you might get information that you will act inappropriately on. It's just a bad idea to get these proactive testing. I have a 17% chance of getting gout, but that's less than average. So I don't think these things are all that useful. I think it's completely legitimate for the FDA to say to 23andMe, you got to show us, that this is real. This is not just some page you made up. Right? But others are saying conspiracy theory, the medical industry is trying to shut down 23andMe.
At the same time, the FDA is not protecting us from these quacks who are talking about how all men have low T.
Well, I know they should do a better job in some areas.
Increase
I
your
agree.
risk of prostate cancer.
Right, but you can't. Yeah, well, really, is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, stop rubbing that stuff in my scalp. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have low T. I got plenty of T, whatever that is. I think it's probably the case that 20. So you've done it, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
And have you done it, Gina?
I have done it. And, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, it told me I had brown hair and,
you can look in the mirror.
Dry earwax. It was like, it was mostly kind of.
Yeah, I have wet earwax. So.
But I think I shared with you guys, there's this one chromosome that's an indicator for Parkinson's. And so I got this email. It was like, hey, we have this new test. That's going to give you this information about whether or not you have this chromosome. And I think I told you guys, I was like, about a work day, I was like sitting at my desk and I got this email. So I go to the site, I log in and it kind of is like, hey, this could be potentially life-changing information. And I started to get really scared and, you should really talk to a doc. Like they really kind of tell you that you should talk to an actual doctor. This is actually an indicator that you're going to get Parkinson's. But I got really nervous. Yeah. I got kind of worked up and nervous about it. And so I was like, okay. And then, you click on unlock and I didn't have it. Right. And I was like, oh,
But that's kind of scary.
But this is what the FDA is saying, right? 23andMe's test is creating chaos with people in their 20s and 30s. Look, like it's scary. It's scary to see like I have a higher risk of breast cancer or heart attack or whatever. But at the same time, I kind of feel like you can't have a mastectomy or an MRI without going to a doctor and getting it, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not like this is something I can do just on my own, right? You would talk to your doctor about it.
I think all 23andMe has to do is say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is the standard. These are legitimate, and I think the FDA will probably go away. It's not unreasonable for them to ask for this kind of information. My point is I don't get all that much out of 23andMe. And look, I'm 99.6% European.
Yeah, exactly. It said the same thing about me. Surprise!
Now, apparently a white supremacist in Europe was 14% African American. So that must have been a surprise. I don't know what the 0.4% unassigned is, but I would like that there's some oversight saying that's an accurate result, not something they just generated randomly. And the reason it's a Google story is because Ann how do you pronounce it? Wojcicki, who is the co-founder of this, is somebody's wife, Sergey's wife.
Well, ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
Right. Right.
Oh, this is the
this is, yeah.
Or separated wife or whatever, Larry. And her sister is the head of advertising.
That's right. She's still at Google. That's right.
Google. And their mother.
They met because their mother rented Larry and Sergey the garage.
And their mother is a magnificent and legendary journalism teacher at Palo Alto High.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh, that's neat.
She is magnificent. And she's also one of the best Google Plusers there is.
23andMe has 15 days to provide specific actions to address the issues raised by the FDA.
I'm also 94% European.
Ah.
But also sub-Saharan African.
Ooh, good for
Sicily,
you.
Middle Eastern, North African. And Sicily,
Yeah.
Everybody invaded Sicily.
Yeah.
At some point.
Apparently invaded your ancestor as well.
Indeed.
At the same time. I'm sorry. That was really rude.
It's almost Thanksgiving. It's all good.
I'm throwing all caution to the wind. I think we are.
Oh, no. Someone I know is now retweeting the Faces in Things Twitter account. It's driving me nuts. Have you seen this one?
No. Faces in Things?
Face Pics. F-A-C-E. Faces Pics.
Twitter.com/facespics.
Faces Pics. P-I-C-S.
P-I-C-S.
Drives me nuts.
And it's just, man, I don't care. These are people's faces in things.
Oh.
No.
There's a man in the mountain.
Cannot unsee.
There is a tired roof.
Exactly. Now I've done it to you.
There's a kissing plant. There is a bear in that wood grain. I don't know what that is.
Wow, a couple of these are great.
My bowl of ice cream wants to look into my soul. The Office Idiot. Frog in the Coffee. That's good. I like that one. Apparently, there's a lot of these.
Yeah. Look at the blanket one. You're getting there. It's one below.
An unexpected friend. Whoa. That's really scary. Yeah. I think this is, as we take more and more pictures of ourselves in our lives, you can expect to see more of this.
Right, we're sort of biologically wired to see the human face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and apparently it's everywhere. Sometimes fish as well.
It is. Wow, this is a follow. Follow is like
I like this. You don't like this, Jeff?
Oh, it drives me nuts.
This bird poop looks like a young woman, doesn't it?
I actually don't see that. I totally do not see that one.
Don't keep looking. You will, and then you'll be sorry.
Oh.
Is there a werewolf in this golf swing? There's a lot of mud. This barn likes to sing opera. Some of these are really far-fetched. Really far-fetched. Oh, Angry Mop. You're right. We are programmed to see
yeah.
Not in the face. Put 'em up. Put 'em up. I'm crying. I can't stop crying. Oh, wow. The Edvard Munch screaming.
I think that's going over
circuit box.
Was manipulated.
Yeah.
Is there a Google Doodle for Thanksgiving yet? Did you like? There was a great Doctor Who doodle.
You know, that is one area of geekdom that I have yet to experience.
I actually bought a season. I couldn't get through one episode of Doctor Who. I couldn't do it.
Oh, you've actually tried. I haven't tried. I haven't tried. But yeah, I don't. It's a thing, right? And there's lots of doctors. I don't know. It's all confusing. It's hard for a beginner to even get.
They like Marmite and Cricket. Why are we listening to them?
I'm just letting you guys go on because I went on a diatribe on Sunday about Doctor Who, and I just don't get it. And I've now been banished from the Geeks Island.
Oh, so we're all in agreement here. That never happens.
Because we have good taste.
Doctor Who. People love it.
I know. I don't understand. I think
I never did the Hobbit thing either. I don't know.
I like the books a lot. You should read the books to Etta. You owe it. You owe that much to her.
That's what we'll.
You don't have the movies, no, but the books, yeah.
I mean, I like the Denny's breakfast menu. That's Hobbit themed, but I don't like the movies.
There is a Hobbit themed Denny's breakfast menu?
There is. There actually never go to Denny's. Happened to have gone while the movie was out. I happened to see the menu. It's.
Don't tell them you're 9% sub-Saharan African there. Right?
Well, Gina, did you see google.com/Hobbit?
Ooh.
Brand new.
There's the breakfast menu. That's not Hobbit food. That's Denny's food.
Funny.
Hobbits don't eat burgers.
But there's that one thing with the roll has the little hole cut out with the egg inside. It's got a terrible name, but it's delicious.
Brew pumpkin coffee. That's not no Hobbit. No self-respecting Hobbit would eat that.
That thing right there.
That's an egg in a hole. Cheddar bun. Go scroll up a little bit. Let's read that.
It's amazing.
It's the Hobbit Hole breakfast.
The Hobbit Hole breakfast.
2 fried eggs stuck right in the center of a grilled cheddar bun. Oh, that sounds good. Served with 2 slices of bacon and crispy hash browns and melted. That'll put hair on your toes.
Oh, yeah.
That is Hobbit food. I don't know about the rest of it.
There's nothing green on that plate to be seen.
No green. No, Denny's has no vegetables. I worked at Denny's. I was a busboy at Denny's when I was first starting out in the world in life. And I can vouch for the fact there are no vegetables.
You were at Denny's? I was at Ponderosa Steakhouse.
Aw. Did the waitresses share tips with you?
Had a break. Get your steak at the Ponderosa Steakhouse.
Is it google.com/Hobbit? I don't have anything.
Yeah, I get a 404.
Look up Hobbit Google Maps.
Oh.
Okay, Google. Hobbit Google Maps.
Take us to the Shire.
Take us to the Shire.
I want to go to the Shire.
Right, this is the Chrome.
The Chrome experiment. It's a Chrome.
Yeah, the Chrome experiment. Yeah.
So I should do it in Chrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeez.
I use Safari on the Mac. I don't know why.
Show about Google, you know.
Google Map. I know. Middle Earth, Google, Chrome experiment, blah, blah. How do I get there? I hate it when they have articles that talk about a web page.
Just say, okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
Maps.
Hobbit Google Maps.
There you go.
You'll find it.
Wow, look at that. That was easy.
This is...
See, Rivendell, Dol Guldur. Oh yeah. Where the Trollshaws? Get the hell out of there. There's the Shire. Let's zoom in on the Shire, can we? Oh, you can't go any closer?
Is it maybe only where those circles are that you can go closer?
Well, click in something. Not there. I don't even know what that's not even in the book. Rivendell. There we go. Trollshaw. The hell's Trollshaw? Oh, this is in the movie. This is from the movie, yeah.
What it was? Oh.
Yeah. Is Denny's on the map? Do they have the Denny's Hobbit menu in it?
I want one of those now.
I want Rivendell. Now that's good. That's where Elrond lives. He was in the Jetsons.
Elroy?
No.
God, we are the worst.
I'm getting punchy. I am getting so punchy. Ooh. Oh, yeah. But see, this is all from the movie. This is just a big promotion for the movie.
Oh, never mind.
That's okay. But, I mean, you know, the movie's coming out. I got tickets. December 13th. Peter
Anyway,
Cushing.
there was a Doctor Who Google Doodle.
That was quite
really
good.
Cool, but I didn't get it because I...
neither me. Me neither. I got it, nothing. I think we've done every story on this list now. Anything you guys want to talk about before we finish her up? I haven't done my ad yet, so I got to do an ad.
Oh, we have one. Good. Phew. I was getting nervous there.
I think we're good.
Katie Couric going to Yahoo. Do we care?
Well, actually, I want to ask you about that because I'm going to do a NPR appearance tomorrow. So tell me what I should say about it. What do you think about that?
Well, she's old and washed up. So Yahoo got her. Once again, confirming the notion that somehow internet media is somehow secondary to real media.
Oh.
Wow.
But internet natives are going to dismiss Katie Couric. They're not going to be interested. She has nothing to say to them. This is Yahoo pursuing the same silly media strategy they did under Terry Semel.
Yeah.
In fact, they started talking to Katie Couric back prior to Marissa Mayer to do the same thing. They couldn't make a deal because this is the problem with mainstream media. They're paid millions and millions of dollars to do very little. So under Ross Levinson a couple of years ago, they were trying to get her over there. I don't know. I think this is a very common response. It's self-loathing new media. They don't
feel that?
Huh? Yeah. Self-loathing new media.
Because Yahoo feels like it's more legitimate when it has Katie Couric, and Katie Couric feels like she's more legitimate if she's on the web.
No, Katie Couric isn't getting work because in mainstream media, when you're 56, you're old and washed up, especially if you're a woman. So Katie's got a syndicated talk show, and NBC's paying her a lot of money to sit on the sidelines. So Katie is just taking the money. Yahoo is self-loathing media saying, well, nobody's ever going to watch new media unless we have some real celebrities. And I see the other thing going the other way, too. I see a lot of new media types saying, well, you know, you're not really making it unless you're on NBC, ABC, or CBS. And I think that that's really an old-fashioned mindset. So Katie, I don't blame her. She's going for the bucks. She's probably going to, I'm sure Yahoo's going to give her a lot of money. But I don't think I'm sure she jokes about it in private. Yeah, I'm going to do something at Yahoo.
I used to be the news anchor at the Tiffany Network, CBS. Yeah. Now I'm on Yahoo.
Yeah, I'm going to Yahoo. What the hell, right? It's a check.
This is so depressing. Katie Couric is badass. I love her.
I love Katie Couric.
I love Katie Couric too.
I love Katie Couric. But
her talk show's not doing so well, but
she's not working.
Now, I don't understand. Is the talk show dying because of this?
She says she's going to finish this season of Katie and then start to work for Yahoo.
And it's not clear that the talk show is going to get renewed. It seems unlikely that it will get renewed.
And here's the other thing I don't understand about this. Is this intended to be an appointment viewing show? Oh, it's noon. It's time for Katie on Yahoo.
Well, that's why none of this makes any sense, because that's not how people consume content on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, well,
I don't know if that's the case.
Twit does shows at certain times that people tune in for. I mean, that's not.
They're doing this. Yahoo hired David Pogue, I'm sure very expensive, from the New York Times. They're trying to get mainstream media types to come over to Yahoo to legitimize whatever they're up to. And it's not the first time they've done it. They do it all the time. And it's, I'm sure Oprah will be doing a show there soon, too. Actually, Oprah doesn't need the money.
Well, that didn't stop her.
Right.
She didn't need the money for a long time.
Yeah, she's one of the richest women in the world. Right. Well, what is it about for Oprah?
All right, but here's when Howard Stern was looking to renew his contract at Sirius, I personally introduced his agent to Eric Schmidt.
It's my opinion that somebody like Howard Stern is a brand and doesn't need Google. Google needs him more than he needs them. He should do his own thing.
Yeah, Howard Stern totally seems like somebody who could do the Louis C.K. indie, set up his own website and just have it.
He's built a marvelous brand. He's got a huge community. What does he need Google for?
Yeah. Well, he's always why did he need Sirius? He's always worked for some company. He's a wage slave.
It's hard for people to get out of that mindset. And in fact, it's been hard. It's always hard for us to attract people to Twit, because people say, "But I need to work for a real company."
Leo, I would work there in a flash. I'd rather work for you than anybody.
Aww.
Wait. When you say that, Leo, you mean like people who are established names at like
No. Other of my, I won't say particular names, but people.
Yeah, you have to say names.
In the who are already in new media. I don't go after the Katie Courics of the world. I can't afford them. Right. And it's funny, even we can't pay millions of dollars to anybody. We can't give them Yahoo money. So some of it might be that.
It feels like there's got to be tons of indie podcasters who do it for free, for the love of it, who are good at it, who would jump at the chance at being at Twit. I don't know.
It's the people with real jobs working at CNET and places like that, and Revision 3 who have, CBS bought CNET, so now I'm working at CBS.
Right.
Discovery bought Revision. Now I'm working at Discovery. There's this kind of feeling like that's a real media enterprise.
Yeah. I wrote on the web for years and thought I wasn't really a writer until I published a book.
Yeah, stop
and then published the book and was like, I didn't hear back from any reader of the book.
Right.
Like I still, I reached so many more people and had so many better conversations on the web. Like it was stupid of me to romanticize print.
We do that. We're in this transitional period, and what's funny is that Yahoo doesn't want. I mean, I think Yahoo probably could do better certainly could appeal to a young. You want to make money now. The audience to go after is the people who are watching only the web, the 18 to 25-year-olds, and every advertiser is desperate to get a hold of them. You don't hire Katie Couric.
Yeah. David Pogue.
Or David Pogue.
To be honest.
You cultivate a team of young, identifiable people. So, but then the other thing that companies like this do is go to YouTube and say, "Oh, Phil DeFranco or whoever, whoever's hot, PewDiePie, whoever's hot on YouTube, that's the next." And I think you just have to grow organically myself, but I don't know. But somebody like Howard is a personal brand. The whole thing nowadays is the personal brand, right? He's got the brand. He should do it himself. He doesn't need anybody. If he doesn't want to, if he doesn't want to do it on his own, yeah, Google be a good partner. The problem with Google, or anybody like that, or Yahoo for this matter, there's not a real coincidence of Howard's goals with these companies' goals. They're different goals.
But Howard strikes me as someone who just wants to talk, who just wants to do radio. He doesn't want to run a business.
He doesn't want to think about it. So do I. You just hire people.
He's on America's Got Talent, because he says that it's great. He's not actually in charge of it. He just goes in and does what he's told. He's just talent. He likes that.
Well, you can put. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't want to do any business. I just hire people to do that.
Yeah.
But you make a lot of business decisions, though, Leo. Right? I mean,
I only make creative decisions. I don't make business decisions.
Really?
Well, I try not to make business. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit involved, but I mean, really, Lisa does the business sides, and I only care about the creative decisions, the content, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, also, I'm sure Howard makes gazillions of dollars at Sirius.
If they paid him $500 million, I would have taken the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to start on your own at your own thing, it's just take
I
a
suspect
huge
they paid a lot of it
financial
in
hit.
serious stock, and as a holder of serious stock, that ain't worth much.
Oops.
Plus,
I mean,
they're supposed to give a
that's a big
bonus.
payday that he got from them. At least a theoretically big payday. So
when I spoke to Bertelsmann in Berlin on my last trip, an executive from Fremantle was there. Fremantle with all the reality TV shows, and I don't think I'm giving anything away because it was tweeted like crazy. But he said, and he put up an iPhone, and he said, what really scares them is the lone creator who's creating stuff.
That should
scares them to death.
That
and
should
be scared. That's smart of them.
That's the world we're entering, right?
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that because I don't want Twit to be the Leo Laporte network. I would like it to be bigger than that. I mean, it's kind of built on my brand, but maybe it is. Maybe that's all it'll be. I don't know. I would love to make something that, I'm thinking my model is more like United Artists. Remember when Charlie Chaplin and Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford said, I don't want to work in the studio system anymore. Why don't we form our own movie company, United Artists? Because we have a brand. And that's kind of, I don't know. I don't know how it worked out for them, but I think it worked out all right. Gonna have some turkey tomorrow?
No.
Oh yeah.
Do you do as many Italians do? Do you have a turkey and pasta?
Well, yeah, my family's dinner back on the East Coast. The turkey is the main dish, but there's always pasta.
Yeah.
Like there's pasta.
With big meatballs?
Yeah, there's pasta and meatballs at any meal. But no, turkey is the
At every meal?
So. At every like big celebration meal, there's always some sort of pasta and meatballs. It's like a Thanksgiving.
I want to be in your family.
In New Jersey, Leo, if you have a restaurant, it has to serve pasta.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. You got to have pasta. You got to have gravy. You got to have meatballs. You got to have a cheese roll stuffed with an egg.
Oh, man. That cheese roll.
Hobbit food. Our show today brought to you by Shutterstock.com. If you're in a creative enterprise, maybe you're starting a new show with Katie Couric, and you realize that creative, you need images, you need vector graphics, you need something to make it gorgeous. Shutterstock has over 30 million stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and videos. They always have the number down at the bottom here. 31,380,089 with 205,000 new images this week alone. The images are fresh. They are high quality, often from professionals, individually reviewed, cleared for use, and backed by a legal guarantee. They are royalty-free. You can use them in anything you're up to. And look at the footage page. I think people go to the front page, and they sometimes forget to click this footage tab, footage.shutterstock.com. Great video as well. 1.4 million royalty-free stock videos. If you create an account, they're free videos and images every single week. You can download any image in any size, pay only one price, or choose individual image packs, or do what we do for the best deal. You get a monthly subscription. The standard subscription is the one we have, 25 images a day. Great for a publication. Really fantastic. The search tool is one of the things that makes Shutterstock so great, because you can find things not only by the noun, the dancer or the Santa Claus or a turkey, but you can also add adjectives. I don't know. I could say angry turkey. Do you think I'll find anything for angry turkey? You think with 30 million images, there'll be a few angry. Oh, these turkeys are mad. That turkey says, "Back off, Buster." That is one. Who would have thought they'd have angry turkeys?
The turkeys have a right to be angry.
I'd be angry too. Is that a turkey or a buzzard? Here's a turkey that is not so happy. Look at that. That's not a turkey. That's a duck. Anyway, well, the other thing I like about Shutterstock is you can also narrow it down by color. If you look at their color wheel, you say you've got a web page that has a certain palette. You can choose the palette you want. I also love the light boxes that you can take images and save them for later use, for inspiration, for ideas. Because it's often the case when you're browsing Shutterstock, you're looking for angry turkeys, and you find something like this. He's a turkey, all right. And say, later when I want to do a blog post on angry young men, I could use that. Everybody knows when you're blogging, when you're creating content of any kind, having an image just brings it to life. And Shutterstock is a great way to do. I don't know what's going on there to do it. Search for Angry Turkeys and search for anything else and have fun. Make the free account, create the light boxes. You can share them with friends. And if you decide to buy 25% off when you use our offer code TWIG1113, TWIG, TWIG 1113. It's your way of letting them know you heard about it on This Week in Google, and we appreciate that. In return, we'll give you 25% off. TWIG 1113. It is time for Gina Trapani's tip of the week.
So I kind of ripped this one off from All About Android, but I've been digging it so much. I showed you earlier I got KitKat on the HTC One, which is the Google Play Edition, and it comes with the stock Android launcher, but I wanted the Google Experience launcher, which is the launcher that you get on the Nexus 5. And it's not, you can't get that through the Play Store, I assume, yet, but you can get it if you sideload an APK, which Fandroid, and that's with a PH, Fandroid, has posted. So if you Google Fandroid, Google Experience launcher, you can download the APK and you can change your launcher and of course you can change it back if you want to the Google Experience launcher, which gives you that slide to the left to get Google Now, and the translucent app drawer, and the tap and hold to get the different home screens and to get to widgets. And it's really, really nice. I have to say, I was saying before in pre-show, I really like it. The Google Experience Launcher is really clean and pretty and gives you that translucency and just makes your phone feel really new with KitKat. I feel like it's like, oh, now I feel like I really have KitKat because I've got the Google Experience Launcher. So yeah, check that out if you've got KitKat. And I think you might be able to even install it on Jelly Bean if not.
Oh, that's interesting.
If I'm not incorrect. But yeah, check it out. Particularly if you have gotten KitKat. It works on the Nexus 7 as well. I got it on my first gen. I got KitKat on my first gen Nexus 7 and also switched it over to the Google Experience Launcher, and it looked really nice. So
that doesn't happen automatically when you get KitKat. You have to choose the new launcher.
That's right. Okay. It does. Right. Well, so when you get KitKat, you get the Google Search update, but you still don't have the new launcher. The launcher isn't an option. It's just the vanilla Android launcher. So you have to go get that APK, sideload that APK, and then you get access to the new launcher. So the launcher only shipped with the Nexus 5.
So and have you with KitKat switched over to the new runtime?
No, I didn't. Not after the horror stories I heard or the horror story I heard from Ron. I didn't switch over. You switched over though.
I did,
Leo,
and I have
right?
had no crashes, no problems, no program didn't work.
And was it a noticeable speed up?
I don't know. I mean, it's
hard to tell, right? Unless you're doing a side by side, yeah.
You have to turn on developer options, and then you'll see select runtime on KitKat. I did it on my Nexus 5. I've done it on my Moto X. Now that my Nexus 7, my 2013 Nexus 7 just got KitKat, I'll try it on there too. It takes a while because you have to, it's like installing a new operating system. It has to run through all the apps and update them. But it's instead of Dalvik, which is the well-known Java runtime for Android, you select ART, Android Runtime. And this, everybody thinks, was being created by Google in case the lawsuit from Oracle went south. They won, they prevailed, but there's still a new runtime. And I don't know if this is going to be the new runtime later or what, but yeah, I mean, that's certainly something not to do if you value your functionality, but I haven't had any problems at all.
I'm now a developer. Android tells me I've tapped.
You tapped 7 times.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't. There's not one app that has it. Where I think Ron just had a bad experience.
It was WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. I think.
I don't use WhatsApp, but so I should try it and see. But everything else I use, all works fine. And I think I get a little bit better battery life. That's what I'm looking for.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
Improved battery life.
Options.
Yeah. So the Google Experience Launcher you can get if you know where to get it.
Yeah, if you download that APK, when you tap the home button, it'll prompt you, awesome. Hey, do you want this launcher?
Just like any other launcher.
Yep, exactly. And I'll be really surprised if we don't see this in the Play Store soon.
Yeah, seems like they're moving that way.
Yeah.
They did it with the keyboard. They did it with Google Print, Cloud Print. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're slowly putting all of those little Google apps out there, which makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Jeff Jarvis, your number of the week.
I'm cheating too. I didn't really have one. So I put up a link to 3 new Nexus 5 commercials, figuring 3 and 5, that's numbers. So I'll cheat. All good. So you can pick any one of them. They're very short. They're 16 seconds. You can play one.
I'll play a commercial. I like playing commercials. They add production value to the show.
We did it.
That's amazing.
They're doing a photosphere.
Champion on the rock.
I am the champion on the rock.
That's neat.
Let me hear your coyote.
Yeah, it's cool.
Good ad for photosphere.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one. This is a bunch of people, family on the beach. Cute family.
Fix the photo.
Oh, I didn't even notice. There was something wrong with it originally?
Yeah.
HDR because the sun's behind them.
Yes.
And so they had to HDR it. Okay. I like the Nexus 5, frankly. I think it's a great phone. And people complain about the camera. I like it. Oh, let's go to a wedding. That's what's next. Grandma discoing. She's doing the robot, which was big in Grandma's time. And then it auto-awesomed it. Love auto-awesome. All right. There you go. Take that, Apple.
I think Kevin Marks dropped something for us in the
I saw that.
The rundown.
He has access to the rundowns. He says he got the Nexus 5 bumper, which is actually misnamed because it is a full case, right?
It's a case.
So let's look at the video on Kevin Marks' Google Plus. He says it makes it more likely for me to drop it slides right off. It's slippery. Don't buy it. It makes him, I like how he has a towel just in case it falls. He doesn't want to. So he's asking people, how do you add friction to the official Nexus 5 bumper? I don't put my phones in cases.
I don't either.
Yeah, I stopped as well.
I like to bareback it. I don't really have a tool or anything. I don't know. I was lazy and nothing came up.
It's cool.
I'm surprised no one has come up with the phone condom. Now that you mentioned that,
Apple did the phone socks.
Phone socks.
They have iPod, or maybe they're iPod socks. They weren't very practical.
Oh right, the rubber thing that pulled over and had
they weren't rubber. They were like socks. They were knitted.
They were socks. They were knitted socks.
It was a terrible idea, and they had an event in which they announced them. So these things happen. If you have not taken our survey, we'd love you to. If you go to YouTube, I'm sorry, why is there a YouTube link there? If you go to twit.tv/survey, it will help us better understand you, your interests, your needs. I know it's a little long, but we really appreciate all the people who've taken it. More than, what is it? The last count was like almost 20,000 people have taken it now, 17-something. So let's put it over the top, if you would. And yes, we will in aggregate take some of that data and tell our advertisers things like our audience's average age is 12 years old and their average income is about $15 a year, something like that. Glenn says 17,000 plus have taken it already. Let us all go to twit.tv/survey. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving. Jeff, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Macaroni and cheese. Home with the whole family.
That's a tradition? You know turkey?
We don't like turkey.
Oh, that's right. I remember this. I remember that you don't do turkey. I like that.
Do you have a special recipe macaroni and cheese, or are you just using Kraft out of the box?
Well, actually, a recipe of mine actually is my wife's. I was once asked by the New York Times for couch potato recipes many, many, many years ago. She helped me make the most obnoxious recipe you could imagine. I submitted that. But no, I don't have a recipe. She makes something the kids like. So it's kind of comfort food to these.
I make a bechamel. And then I put some, you have to, maybe a little smoked Gouda. You have to choose the cheese depending on the audience.
Ooh.
Melt that into the bechamel. And then you can cook some macaroni, or I like those little squiggly little rotini. And then you cook those ahead of time. You pour this bechamel over the rotini, then some panko on the top. Now, if you really, if you go crazy, it's Hanukkah, I know, but you could also put a little salt pork or ham in there, a little bacon. Just give it some flavor. Then you bake that.
I didn't have lunch today, and it's dinner time here. I'm starving.
Wait,
Happy
rotini
Thanksgiving.
or the squiggly? I'm looking this up now because the rotini really holds on to the cheese. Anyway.
I love bechamel. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We do Twig on Wednesday afternoons, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2100 UTC on twit.tv. And if you join us live, we would love to see your shining face in our chat room. But if you can't, on-demand audio and video are always available after the fact at twit.tv/twig or wherever fine netcasts are aggregated and distributed. We thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Have a great Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S. If not, it'll be nice because Americans will be quiet, except for the burping, for a whole day. We'll see you next time on Twig.